Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, brought to you in part by our friends at Mint Mobile, right here on my YouTube channel. I am, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, our international friends, gather around as we talk about our favorite things in the world: movies, movie news, TV, streaming, all sorts of good stuff. Joining me over here, he's the happy owner of a throne, the one and the only Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, how you doing today, sir?
John, it's a glorious day today. You know, whenever I get a new action figure chair in my life, I can't sit in it.
Which one did you get?
I got Thanos' throne from his spacecraft from Infinity War and Endgame.
Now,
waited 26 months.
I was going to say, tell everybody how long you waited since you ordered it.
I ordered it in 2020, May of 2020.
That's unbelievable.
And I had given up on it. You know, I'd like given up on it, but it's a third-party throne, you know, and it just showed up. And I was accused of, it came in a huge box, and Elizabeth was very angry. She's like, you shouldn't be buying big things. You know, we have the mortgage to pay. And I'm
bought
like,
it 2 years ago.
I'm like, baby, I didn't, honestly, at first I didn't know what it was. Because, you don't think a chair
You're like, basically, I was a different man when I ordered
I
this.
was a different man, baby. You changed me. You changed me for the better. Speaking of which, sitting beside him, the changer of men, Chris Carr.
That's
Chris, how you
me.
doing?
I'm doing great. I got physical media from Rob. I'm not even going to make fun of him today. I'm just going to be sweet.
That's amazing.
Oh, you can make fun of me.
It's
That's
so
why
nice.
people tune in.
Aw.
That's a great set.
I'm very excited.
Sitting over there, joining you guys in the live chat today, Ray Ora. Ray, how you doing?
Why is Rob dealing out physical media like it's cocaine?
So like here.
Because it
can't-
is cocaine. It's even more expensive.
Want to try
I
a little
can't fit
taste?
this in my nose.
On today's new segment, can Chris fit it in her nose?
And I wouldn't. It was expensive.
The new show.
Please don't. It would not be mint condition anymore.
Sitting over there, running
Nor
the
my
show
nose.
today, producer Jonathan Boyko. Jonathan, how you doing? He's got nothing to offer. And of course, most importantly, joining us today is you guys. Thank you so much for being here and making the show part of your day. Guys, got a big packed show ahead of us here today. Want to let you know that we're going to do the show in two parts. In the first half of the show, we're going to talk about some predetermined topics. Then in the second half of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. Two very important steps to getting your live comment or question read. Number one, you got to be watching live. Number two, when we get to the end of the main topics, we'll announce that we're opening up the super chats, and that'll be your time to fire in your thoughts, theories, opinions, questions, whatever, and we will address those in the second half of the show. All right, guys, with that down, let's get into some off the tops here, shall we? And our first one is a glorious one. That is this. You know, Arcane is my favorite animated show of all time. But my favorite animated show on TV right now, a show I thought looked stupid, didn't want to give it the time of day, got talked into trying it out, and I begrudgingly did, and I'm so glad that I did, because Harley Quinn, which, by the way, I finally got caught up. I watched the newest episode. So good. The Bruce and Selena relationship is the best relationship and the healthiest relationship in all of animated television, too. That is just awesome. But Harley Quinn is now official. HBO has confirmed that they have renewed Harley Quinn for season 4. And they go on and they just kind of gush about it. Now, of course, you remember last week, we kind of caught wind that it was probably going to be renewed because episode numbers got kind of released and episode listings and titles got released. So we thought, okay, this is probably pointing, this doesn't guarantee it, but it's official now. HBO has confirmed it is back. It's going to come back. We still got to get through the rest of season 3. This show has not lost a step. Every show I am laughing my fool guts out. It's so clever and so quick. Oh my God, the King Shark stuff this episode, I nearly died. The stuff with his brother and Ocean Master. My brother. Aquaman's my brother. Yes, we know. It's just so freaking good. I'm so excited this is coming back. Anyway, Chris, it's now official. Harley Quinn's coming back for season 4. What do you take away from this?
I got to catch up on the show. I haven't watched since season 1. I'm so behind.
You haven't seen season 2 or 3?
No.
Oh my God.
That's why I was like, man, I hope this episode's about Mr. Freeze. And everyone was like, oh, Chris. Oh, sweet Chris. No, it won't be. Like, why not? So I have a lot to catch up on. But what I saw before, I really, really loved. It's so funny. And it's so nice to see Harley in a healthy relationship. I love her and Ivy together.
Her and Ivy, like I joked about, the other, her and Ivy are my favorite relationship on television. It just absolutely is. They're so great together. Anyway, Rob, you hear about this? What do you think?
Well, I've been watching this mostly because of your praises. It's hilarious. I mean, I'm not up to the it's third season now. I'm not up to the third season, but it's really good. So, and they had announced the episode titles for season 4 already. So I'm glad to see it has now officially been given the green light because, dude, this show it keeps getting better and funnier.
Which is the crazy, like, especially if you're watching season 1, like, you think, okay, it's going to slowly decline, but it gets better.
It is. It's getting better and better. I'm in the middle of the second season. It's hilarious. And it just seems, you know what it feels like? It feels like the writers have been emboldened as they go along. They're like, let's push the envelope a little further.
Now, speaking of writers, they also announced with the coming of season 4 that they are switching showrunners. So now the showrunner, but yeah, I mean, I got a little bit worried about that too. But it's not to worry, no fear, because the series, comes to us from Deadline. The series is also getting a new showrunner, Sarah Peters, who has been a writer on the series since season 1 and currently serves as the consulting producer, will take over the role from Justin Harpland and Patrick Schumacher, who originally developed the show with Dean Lorey. So a new showrunner, I think those guys are moving on to other projects now. They've done it for 3 seasons. The new showrunner is somebody who's been with the show since the first episode.
That's great.
And has been one of the writers. So I, as a fan, know that it's in safe hands, so I feel pretty good. The other angle to this is the timing of this is interesting because, you know, if you are an animation fan, you know, HBO Max has been axing a lot of animation.
Right.
Making us wonder, they're just getting out of the animation game altogether. But we talked about that the other day. Say, I think they're really gearing their stuff towards the stuff the adults are watching. And
yeah, the same for kids.
Harley Quinn is definitely not for kids.
No,
not that.
You don't want them watching that Court of Owls orgy?
Oh my God.
You don't think a child should watch that?
The orgy was
Learning.
so funny. Kids got to learn.
Yeah.
Kids got to learn.
You don't want to be awkward at your first orgy.
Dad, where do babies come from? Let's sit down and watch an episode of Harley Quinn. This will be a lot easier on me. Anyway, guys, what do you think about this? Harley Quinn now officially greenlit for season 4. I think we saw it coming, but I'm still just very, very glad that this happened. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys, with that down, let's do another off the top, and that is this. You know, we often talk about, in terms of the streaming wars and the streaming industry itself, we often forget it is really in its infancy. Like in its very early infancy still. And a lot of things are going to change, evolve, all that kind of stuff. And we've seen a lot of the streaming organizations already start to converge. Well, we got a news of a big one, as it has now been announced that Paramount Plus and Showtime are merging into one single app. Now, as of yesterday, you could add Showtime programming into your Paramount Plus as an add-on subscription sort of thing. But they are just simply going to be merging this thing into one app. So Paramount Plus is now going to be Paramount Plus with Showtime. And I think the name of the app is still officially just going to be Paramount Plus, but you're going to be able to get all this stuff with some changing of the pricing. So this comes to, what's that?
It's going to be Show Mount.
It's a Showmount.
Showmount.
Part-time.
Paramount time.
Part-time.
Part-time plus.
Part-time plus max. All right. So this comes to us from the folks over at The Verge, and they wrote this. You can now access the content packed into Paramount Plus and Showtime from a single app. First bundled as a subscription last September, Paramount and Showtime's categories have been separated between 2 apps for viewers in the US, but viewers can now access the full roster of TV shows and films from the Paramount Plus app. Now here's where they get into the details. For new subscribers, the Paramount Plus and Showtime bundle is available at a discounted rate until October 2nd at $7.99 per month for the Essentials plan, which includes commercials, with Showtime, and $12.99 per month for the premium plan with Showtime that adds more sports live broadcasts of your local CBS stations and downloads for offline viewing on mobile, which is pretty cool, and mostly removes ads, except on live TV and certain shows. After October 2nd, the regular pricing resumes with a combined Essentials tier at $11.99 per month and the premium plan for $14.99. So for $14.99, less than the price of Netflix, you will get mostly ad-free, with the exception of live TV. You're going to get all of Paramount Plus, which has been building its library. You're going to get all of Showtime. You're going to get a bunch of live stuff from CBS things for $14.99 a month. this isn't bad. Now, where this gets really exciting for somebody like me is the fact that Showtime has some of my all-time favorite shows that are going to be there. We're talking about, I noted, jot a couple down here. When you get Showtime now, that's going to be on Paramount Plus app is all of a sudden now going to have Dexter, Homeland, Shameless, Billions, Ray Donovan. I freaking love Ray Donovan. Weeds, one of my favorites, Californication. I miss that show. I miss California. David
So
Duchovny.
good.
The new Yellow Jackets, The Tudors, Penny Dreadful, Nurse Jackie, The Affair, House of Lies. I also really loved House of Lies. Aaron Cummings' former show, Masters of Sex. I almost said House of Sex. That's a completely different thing. The United States of Terror, The Bourgeois, Dead Like Me, Episodes, Your Honor, City on a Hill, Stargate SG-1, on and on and on. All Showtime things, all now suddenly going to be a part of Paramount on the Paramount Plus app. All for a price that's less than Netflix. Netflix's library still will put this one's to shame. It will. Make no mistake about it. But I've been contending that I think Paramount Plus has been getting better and better. Adding in Showtime and this incredible catalog of stuff they got, that's a pretty impressive thing. This is a good move for them. And let's be honest, as much as Paramount Plus has been improving, they are the horse that's way near the back of the pack.
Yes.
Right? So let's make no mistake. This is a move that they really needed to make. And it's a good one. It's a good move. Now, will this be a huge game changer? I think it'll be a game changer. I don't know that it's going to put them up there all of a sudden with Disney Plus and HBO Max, but it's a good move. Anyway, Rob, you hear about this. What's your takeaway from it?
Like you said, I think it's a good move. You want to get all these, Warner Brothers and HBO, Disney and Hulu, and Disney and Fox. I mean, all of these, this consolidation is what ultimately I want from my streaming services. If Paramount's affiliated with Showtime, give them both to me. I'm greedy in that way, but I think it should. That's the way it should be. And I think, in a way, I find that attractive. I don't know why, but I like the idea that all the Universal properties are under one. I
roof. Agree. Yeah,
and the entire history of the Disney Entertainment Company, all the way back to the Steamboat Willie or whatever, will eventually be under that roof. I don't think anybody who's under the age of 40 care. Don't.
Oh,
know.
I will. I love Steamboat Willie.
Well, there you go. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's demonetization right there.
Yeah, right there. We're done.
But I think that's great. And I like this. And I like the fact that you're getting more bang for your buck. You're getting the whole Showtime has a very deep library. They've been around for 40 years, so great. I think it's terrific. I'll pay.
Chris, what do you think about this? Like, do you think something like this would be enough to prompt somebody to go, you know what? Okay, yeah, I'll check this service out that maybe hasn't. Would it for you? What do you think about it?
It would for me, because up until recently, I've been using my mother-in-law's, or I did the 7-day free trial so that I could watch Secret Headquarters for this job. You're welcome, people. Because there really hasn't been something that makes me go, I need to get this right now. Gosh, I need to make sure I'm signed up for Secret Headquarters.
I have never heard that phrase uttered, and I doubt we'll ever hear it
don't think
uttered
we ever
again.
will.
No.
I don't. They tried.
So you want to sign up for it so you can get Beverly Hills Cop 4 or Beverly Hills Cop Axel Foley.
There we go.
Yes.
That's fair. But I think having both of these on here is very intriguing, especially when you go through and list all of those Showtime properties of, oh yeah, I would love to rewatch that. Oh yeah, I would revisit that and everything. And having it on 3 separate devices. I know most people, that's several different TVs in their home, but for somebody like me who has, one TV in their living room.
One TV?
Yeah.
What?
I've got one TV in my living room, and I've got one in my room that's mostly just for me playing Super Nintendo. But now I could sign up for this, and my
Do you
brother could
live
have
in
an
a
account.
little house on a prairie?
Yeah, I'm basically Amish.
With a Super Nintendo?
I'm just sitting at home whittling and playing Super Nintendo.
Wow.
Is your
Same
TV on
era.
the table? Oh my god!
TV on a table?
No, it's
not on the
wall
wall?
mounted. I'm not a heathen. I'm not an
Is it
animal,
one of
Ray.
those TVs that
Dining
you
room
turn
table.
on and you gotta wait for a while for it to warm
Yeah,
up?
you have to warm it up. You have to turn it off well before your parents
Yeah,
are
when you
home. You
turn it
hear the
off, does
garage,
it-
and you're like, no.
Does
Yeah,
it
And when you
crackle
turn
a
it
little
off,
bit?
there's still a glow on
there
it
is
for
still a
about
glow.
3 minutes.
Yeah, there is.
Got it.
Yeah,
Nice.
I have to walk up to turn it on. It's a whole thing.
Chris, can you fit the TV up your nose?
I can't.
See, that's the question.
That's another
Does it
one.
fit up your nose?
Once again, not cocaine.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about? I think this is actually a really significant move and a great needed boost for something like Paramount Plus. Adding that Showtime library is impressive. What do you guys think about it? Jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys, it is now that time for a new segment here on the show, our Mint Mobile Hotline Question of the Day. Thanks to our sponsors at Mint Mobile, we every day on the show will be taking one voicemail question from you guys, our audience. If you guys have a voicemail question you'd like to leave us, you can just call the number anytime 24/7 at 951-268-4259. Go ahead and leave that message there, and maybe you'll hear your voice message here on our show. So what is our Mint Mobile Hotline question today, Jonathan?
Greetings, John and crew. My name is Joe. My question is, I know you're not sold on the idea of a Young Avengers film coming out, but with a lot of empty slots that was shown at Comic-Con and Disney Plus Day coming, you think we might get a Young Avengers show? Thanks, and love the show.
All right, thanks for sending that in, man. Okay, yeah, Young Avengers is something that gets brought up a lot. I'm not a believer in Young Avengers. I do not believe. Now, I don't take that, misinterpret that. I'm not saying my sources at the studio have told me there's no Young. No. This is just me talking as a fan speculating. I don't believe in Young Avengers. I don't believe we're going to see it anytime in the next number of years. But I mean, eventually everything's going to get made. But right now, I don't think it's coming. But you raise a good point. We do have D23 coming up. And at Comic-Con, when they laid out the timeline, there were a lot of empty gaps there.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of empty gaps that, certain shows or movies, gaps that I think we are going to see filled at D23. And I think we're going to get a lot of announcements, a lot of shows. Could Young Avengers be one of them? Well, a little bit later in today's show, we're going to be talking a little bit about Hailee Steinfeld coming back, but we'll get into that topic. I don't really think that's relevant one way or the other. I don't think it adds to or takes away from the potential of the Young Avengers. I'm still going to say we are going to come out of D23. Now, I'm going to make about 500 predictions. This is just one. And again, it's totally based on nothing but a guess. I think we are going to come out of D23 with no Young Avengers announced. Even though there are a lot of potential openings there that a Young Avengers show or movie could step in there and be, I don't think it's going to happen. Rob, you're going to D23 with me next week. By the time we leave Anaheim, will there have been an official announcement for a Young Avengers show or movie?
Yes, there will be.
Okay.
Because I'm in a Fox mode with this. I want to believe. And I think that they've been setting it up throughout these shows and movies to a certain extent. And I think that a Young Avengers movie would actually, look at that picture right there. There's your Young Avengers. There's the basis for a Young Avengers movie. And, Kate Bishop was in the first issue of Young Avengers, the comic. And she's terrific. She's a Academy Award caliber actress. And I can absolutely see her leading the way into a Young Avengers movie.
Chris, what do you think? D23 comes and goes. It wraps up. Has a Young Avengers been announced?
It's just like a kind of mild-mannered event that no one really cares about because otherwise I'd be going. I'm not bitter about it at all. I think they're going to make this announcement. I'm with Rob on this one. Everyone has kids or young sidekicks. They're setting this up. I really think we're getting Young Avengers.
I just don't see it. Now, because first of all, like Ms. Marvel, I think she's going to be more wrapped up with Captain Marvel and stuff like that. I don't see that coming, but maybe, listen, I was interested to know what you guys think. So I created a poll on the live chat. For those of you watching live, I threw up a poll to ask you guys, and a little over 500 of you guys have already responded. I just put this up, and I simply asked a very simple question. Will a Young Avengers be announced at D23? And so far, more of you agree with Rob and Chris.
As you should.
59%. 59% of you guys right now think there will be a Young Avengers asked or announced at D23. 41% of you are saying no. So it's close. We'll find out. D23 is next week. Lots of huge announcements coming. I cannot wait. Maybe Young Avengers will be one of them. Thanks a lot for participating. And once again, guys, don't forget, you can fire in a question on our Mint Mobile Hotline question of the day. Once again, the phone number is, let's bring that graphic up. And they're all ready. They're ready on the draw. There it is, 951-268-4295. Just fire in your question and maybe you'll hear it asked on the next show. All right, guys. With all that down, we're going to move now into our main topics here today. But before we do, we're going to hear from one of the sponsors of today's show, our friends at Stamps.com. Guys, we want to take a second to thank the sponsor of this episode, Stamps.com. Guys, you know the holiday season has a way of sneaking up on us, and we are never as prepared as we think we are. And if you're a small business owner, you know how important it is to get ready for the insane holiday season. And even if you just got a lot of family or friends that you're going to be shipping stuff to, now's the time to get ready. Luckily for us, Stamps.com has everything you need to make your life a whole lot easier. Because Stamps.com is your one-stop shop for all of your shipping and mailing needs. Get access to the USPS and UPS services you need to run your business right from your computer. Because with inflation on the rise, every single dollar counts. Protect your margins with major discounts on USPS and UPS rates up to 86% off. Stamps.com offers a stress-free solution for everyone. Use Stamps.com to print postage wherever you do business. All you need is a computer and a printer. And if you need a package pickup, you can easily schedule it through your Stamps.com dashboard. So get out ahead of the holiday chaos this year. Get started with Stamps.com today. Sign up with the promo code CAMPEA for a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a free digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the page, and enter the code. And thank you to our friends at Stamps.com for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. By the way, guys, links to our sponsors and their promo codes are down in the description of the video below. And when you support our sponsors, you're actually supporting us. So thank you so much to you and to our sponsors. All right. With that down, let's get into our main topics here today, shall we? And how do we select our main topics on the show? Well, that's easy. You guys come up with our main topics. Whenever we come across a big topic, issue, or story that you guys feel we need to cover as a main topic here on the show, just go anytime 24/7 over to www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. Once you guys get there, you're going to see a form. Fill it out with your topic or question. It's absolutely free. Hit submit, and then maybe, just maybe, you might see your submission featured as a main topic here on the John Campea Show. With that down, Chris, what is our first main topic today?
This comes from Michael Scarn from Threat Level Midnight.
From Threat Level Midnight?
Do the Scarn. Hey, John and crew. Okay, so I wasn't a huge fan of the Hawkeye series, but I didn't think it was all that bad. In particular, I actually really liked Hailee Steinfeld as Kate Bishop. But with all the uncertainty of the Hawkeye series returning or not, and no announcements about Steinfeld possibly returning, I haven't been sure if we'd see her again. Well, according to the Disney Latino site, she's going to be back in Phase 5. Are you excited about Steinfeld returning, and which film do you think she'll appear in?
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, Mr. Scarn from Goldface. Appreciate that. Yeah, listen, Hailee Steinfeld, I remember when they announced that she was going to be in Hawkeye. It's like, really? Like, she is one of the hottest names in the world right now. She's incredibly gifted and talented, great singer, fantastic actor, and just charming as all get out. I think she's my wife's, other than Tom Hanks, I think she's my wife's favorite celebrity right now. It's Hailee Steinfeld. At any rate, while I am not a fan of the Hawkeye series, I wanted to like it. I really like the character Hawkeye an awful lot. And it absolutely had its moments. And it absolutely had a couple of decent episodes that I enjoyed. Overall, I wasn't a big fan, and that's fine. But Hailee playing Kate Bishop, I mean, she crushed it. She did crush the role. Even though there were times I didn't like what they were doing with the character or the way they wrote the character, she completely owned the character and owned that role. And to see her come back into the MCU, it's certainly something I'd be more than happy to see. Well, it looks like it is something we're going to see. This comes from the folks over at CBR who wrote the following. Hailee Steinfeld's time in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is far from over. The Hawkeye actor is expected to return after being included in an article on the official Disney Latino website about Marvel superheroes you need to know before seeing Phase 5 of the MCU. The now deleted list included the following entry on the Marvel character. Kate Bishop, a character played by actress Hailee Steinfeld, was introduced to the public in the Hawkeye series and is one of the members of the Young Avengers in the comics. And well, they mentioned Young Avengers.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they did.
A member of the Young Avengers in the comics, an admirer of Clint Barton / Hawkeye, played by Jeremy Renner, the young woman decided to follow in his footsteps. Besides being an archer, Kate is also an excellent fighter with knowledge of different martial arts, as well as being an excellent fencer. And again, that comes to us from CBR. So the article is up there on official Disney site. Characters you need to know for Phase 5, which brings up an interesting question. For Phase 5, I thought we already had all of our projects listed out for Phase 5. Actually, if I look up Phase 5, if I look up Phase 5, and we go into there and start looking at, well, what could possibly be the things she shows up in? What are these things they keep talking about Phase 5? Like, what's she going to be in? And I don't know what the answer to that is. I mean, could she pop up in an Echo series? Echo, to me, Echo seems the most, I don't think we're going to see her showing up in Ant-Man Quantumania. I don't think we're going to see her pop up in Secret Invasion. I don't think we're going to see her pop up in Blade. I don't think we're going to see her pop up in the new Captain America. I don't think we're going to see her pop up in Agatha or Thunderbolts or whatever. Ironheart, possibly. There's some synergy there for Ironheart, but considering where it's coming out of, to me, it seems like if she's going to pop up in Phase 5, it seems to me like Echo is going to be the most logical one, although certainly not a given. Rob, you're looking at this. Number one, what do you think about the idea of Hailee Steinfeld returning for Phase 5, if, that thing on the Disney site is true? And if true, what Phase 5 property, because Phase 5's all been announced, what Phase 5 property makes the most sense for her to pop up in?
I think you're absolutely right. It would probably be Echo because they're in the same vicinity, if nothing else.
Right.
I could see that absolutely happening. Again, teaming up those two characters has distinct possibilities to it. So, but I still think the fact that they even mentioned Young Avengers in that, and you look at that, just looking at that, we saw Marvels, you see Ironheart, you see whatever's going on with Hulk taking off in a spaceship. The results of that could bring on another member of the Young Avengers. I think that they're setting this up. And, there's some, I really honestly believe that. So Echo, I think, would be the first thing. But I definitely think in Phase 6, we are going to see a Young Avengers movie. Because I can think about, there's some really good, I want to say it's called The Children's Crusade. Was a pretty great storyline in the comics. And I could see them adapting something like that because, what better way to get your younger audiences? I mean, everyone already loves the MCU, but with a younger group of heroes, it just gives you more story possibilities. And I like the Young Avengers team. And I think that her, of course, she's really not, it's so funny to call it Young Avengers because it's not like she's 16.
No, but by the time Secret Wars comes out, she's going to be close to 30.
Right. But she is in college. I mean, she was college age in Hawkeye.
Yes.
So I could see it. I mean, it is Young Avengers. And if you're college age.
It's not the teen Avengers.
No.
It's the Young Avengers.
Yes. And I could see that,
The young
that
at heart
happening.
Avengers.
Plus, I mean, she's, again, I really like the Young Avengers as a team. And I think what they're doing and how they're positioning these characters. I mean, America Chavez in Doctor Strange.
I loved America Chavez and Doctor Strange.
Miss Marvel's going to be in a movie. So they're positioning these younger characters to be able to carry or at least be part of an ensemble in a movie. And they're working pretty well. Like you said, you loved America Chavez. I did too. She's absolutely charismatic enough to be a character in an ensemble, a Young Avengers movie.
Chris, you see this? Number one, just in general, the idea of Hailee Steinfeld and Kate Bishop playing a role somewhere in Phase 5. And where do you think we could see her pop up?
I love having her come back in here. I just want a whole buddy cop adventure of her and Yelena, honestly. I just want them to go hang out forever and ever. Because those scenes were so fun in Hawkeye. Those are the times I think the show really, really sang. I definitely think we'd see her in Echo because of her relationship to that character and the Tracksuit Mafia and everything. But I also think there's a possibility for Quantumania because we've got Cassie Lang. And so there's another Young Avenger person in there that we can have them start talking to. And maybe there is a slow recruitment process of these younger folks getting together and starting to talk to one another about where they want to stand within their superhero parents or mentors' lives and everything. Especially because I don't think we're going to, maybe we will, but I don't think Scott Lang is going to have the horrible fate that kind of launched Cassie's superhero career. I don't think we're going to blow up Paul Rudd. I don't think that's going to happen. So I think that we're going to start slowly seeing all of these younger fighters come together.
The one thing that works for the idea of Young Avengers, because you think about someone like Hailee Steinfeld, she is at a certain place in her career right now where she is not cheap. if you want to bring her onto a project of yours, she's a big enough name right now that bringing her in is not cheap. However, when you look at everybody else who would possibly be in, like actor-wise, who would possibly be in Young Avengers, to do my best Jaimon Hansu talking to Star-Lord, who? Like, none of them are names. None of them are names. Like, from top to bottom, that would be an inexpensive cast. So while I do not believe we're coming out of D23 with the Young Avengers announcement, one argument for it would be, don't be fooled. It probably wouldn't be as expensive of a project as you might think a team-up movie would be, because you're dealing with a lot of casts that will not be bringing with them big price tags. Aside from Hailee, from her.
Plus, I mean, a Young Avengers team, if it was put together with a lot of these great actors that are established, they could, if Secret Wars is indeed the end of the Avengers movies, this Young Avengers team could take us through to the 2030s.
Yeah, I don't believe for a second that Secret Wars is the end of the Avengers movies. I don't believe that for one red second. Not a chance. But anyway, guys, the question is for you. What do you think about this? According to an article that was on the official site that has been pulled down, it's like one of the characters to know for Phase 5 is Kate Bishop. What do you think about that? Where do you think we could see her pop up in the future here? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to main topic number 2. Chris, what is our second main topic today?
This comes from Jennifer Whale. Hi, John. Long time, first time. I know you didn't love Nope, but I think it might be my favorite movie of the year so far. I'm writing to ask you if you saw that Jordan Peele is saying that there are more stories to tell in that world, including the mysterious nobody character that is in the trailer but got cut out of the film. Do you think it's a good idea to do a follow-up to Nope, and would you be open to it? Thanks.
All right, thanks a lot for saying that in, Jennifer. And yeah, I certainly did not dislike Nope. I didn't dislike it. I enjoyed the film. I don't think it's a great film. I don't think it's as good as his, Get Out masterpiece. I do think it was better than his Us disappointment. Could I see them doing another one? This article really surprised me because it's hard for me to imagine Jordan Peele doing sequels. Like when you look at the films he's done right now, like really none of them open themselves a sequel. And if you've seen Nope, it doesn't exactly end in such a way that we got to see the next movie now. I don't really necessarily see that, but sequels could be coming. This comes to us from the folks over at Variety who wrote the following. Jordan Peele won over fans, critics, and the box office alike with his summer sci-fi thriller Nope. And while the movie's ending doesn't scream for a sequel, as with any of Peele's films, there is a lot left to the imagination, including a mysterious character listed on IMDb as Nobody, played by Michael Bush. Peele addressed the uncredited character, fan theories, and possibility for a sequel in an interview with the New York Times, hinting, "We are not over telling all these stories." Unquote. Now listen, the one thing that would make me really excited about right now is that anything that can get Keke Palmer back into more stuff. My wife has started watching a new game show that
Password.
Keke Palmer has started to do with Jimmy Fallon called Password, which looks like the dumbest thing ever, but it's pretty good. And she is a great host. A great host. Now, you got to keep in mind, there was another game show that my wife used to love. What was it called, Ray? Shopping cart grocery?
Supermarket sweep?
Supermarket Sweep? Is that what it's called?
I
Supermarket Sweep?
guess. Yes, that's the only thing I can think of with shopping
You guys
cart.
know her so well.
And I think Ray, Ann loved that show. It was an old game show. She used to watch it all the time. And they
yeah.
revived
That's what
it
it was.
with the girl from Ghostbusters,
Leslie Jones.
Leslie Jones, right? I like Leslie Jones a lot. She's a terrible game show host.
Yep.
Like
I agree.
I couldn't watch it anymore. Like
Me
she was
too.
an absolutely, I think she's a great comedian.
I love her as a
her.
commentator.
I-
She has like the Olympics. Oh,
Did she do commentary on the
she
Olympics?
she started on Instagram and Twitter doing it, and then NBC was
I
like, "What's
saw
up, Leslie?"
those.
Yeah.
Yes, she was
She was
really good
hilarious.
at that.
And her
It was
Game
great.
of Thrones videos were great
Oh,
too.
so good.
But as a game show host,
It's a different muscle.
woo, she was bad. Like I stopped watching just because she was hosting.
Mm-hmm.
But Keke Palmer kills it as a game show host. So that is the one thing about, if you want to return to the Nope thing, or maybe it'll be spin-off things. Maybe this becomes the Nope cinematic universe. And the Nope next one is going to be about Mr. Nobody that we did not see in the movie because they cut him out, but he was in the trailer. Maybe it'll be about the show they made with the monkey, or I mean, I don't know. Am I open to it? I won't go so far as to say I'm not open to it, but I'd be lying if I said I'd be excited about it. I would be excited about another Jordan Peele movie. Not excited about the idea of them doing more with Nope, just because I didn't love the movie. But I don't know, Rob,
Right.
What do you think about this?
Look, you know what? To me, if he's got a good idea and he wants to carry this universe or these characters further, I'm all for it. Nope I thought that there was a lot of really great stuff in it. But again, I thought it had too many ideas in a way. I mean, his films are rich experiences, but I thought Get Out was great because it was so focused. The point that he was trying to make, he had a great story that they both sort of supported one another, and great performances, and Daniel Kaluuya is so
introduce the world to him, really.
Yeah, if he's Martin Scorsese, then that's Leonardo DiCaprio. And I think them working together is terrific. It's what a combination. But I just felt like Nope had too much, like with Us, had too much going on. It went a little too far. It was a little too scatterbrained. However, I hadn't seen anything like it before.
That's true.
It felt, his movies, as much as I might not have liked Us as much as I wanted to, and I liked Nope a little bit more, but it's unique. I don't go like, that's kind of like this, or it was kind of like that. It's not kind of like anything. So Jordan Peele has a voice that I really enjoy, and I will sit down and watch what he makes. And I hope he hits it out of the park again like he did with Get Out. But I think that kind of originality, I mean, he's not breaking the bank. He's not spending $150 million on these movies. And I think by doing that, it's going to allow him to keep working. What I want to see is his oeuvre, his body of work as it develops over time, because I do think that he's an exciting filmmaker.
And he has become a master at building tension.
Absolutely.
There's a shot, like, tell me if you like this equation. There's a scene in Nope that the first time you as an audience member recognize and catch a glimpse of something moving in the clouds, and that freaked out kind of,
or something not moving in the clouds.
Yeah, that freaked out. Well, that doesn't freak you out though, but like the first time you recognize, like, just a little bit of it, you're like, what the, right? It reminded me a lot of watching the M. Night Shyamalan film, the one with the aliens. Signs. The first time you're watching news footage on the screen, and it cuts to thing, and you just see the back end of a foot disappearing. And like, what? Like that creepy feeling. Mm-hmm. He can build that so well.
Yeah.
And that's the strength of his films. Anyway, Chris, would you be open to a Nope sequel?
I would. And the worst thing Shyamalan did was show us our alien, whereas in Nope, you were like, oh, okay, that's pretty, that's neat. I would be open to it because it felt like there were two different films here. I would love a Gordy movie. I would love seeing all of that. I understood why it was in there. I really understand that, but it just felt very, very stretched out. It felt like we had just too much peanut butter on a slice of bread that wasn't going far enough.
Yeah.
And so I would like to explore those worlds and have them be a little more succinct. And anything that does get us more Keke Palmer, I'm on the same page as you. She used to host the third hour of Good Morning America. And so I think that's also why she has really great hosting skills. She's also just an incredible performer who's been around since Akeelah and the Bee, right? She has been a household name for many, many years. So I really hope that this does just further launch her, because I think she's such a tremendous talent.
All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think? Would you be down for a Nope sequel? Or would you be like me, where it'd be like, that's fine, but I prefer to see Jordan Peele continue to do original work? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, before we move on to our next topic here, we're going to take a second and hear from another one of our sponsors, a brand new sponsor. As a matter of fact, I'm rocking one of their shirts, our friends at True Classic. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's episode, True Classic. This brand new sponsor has the absolute best fitting t-shirts that a man can buy. Finding the right t-shirt with a little bit of a dad bod is incredibly frustrating. Most t-shirts are either way too tight on your gut or look way too big and boxy. You're not in high school anymore, and it's time to upgrade. True Classic has already helped over 2 million men finally get a better fit at an affordable price. And the John Campea Show viewers and listeners get access to the best deal they offer. For a limited time only, get 25% off using the code CAMPEA at trueclassic.com. Look, you and I both know that almost all of men's t-shirts are designed to look good on skinny models with six-packs. But let's be honest, that's not most of us. True Classic tees taper off towards the bottom, but they fit tighter around the chest and shoulders. It's time to highlight your best attributes with a t-shirt that you can always confidently throw on. Like most of you guys, ever since college, I've always struggled to find proper fitting t-shirts that are comfortable. Well, True Classic, from the moment I put on the shirt they sent me, solves it. And True Classic doesn't just stop at tees. From polos and workout shirts with the same flattering fit. Upgrade your wardrobe with True Classic. Get 25% off at trueclassic.com with the promo code CAMPEA. Free shipping included on purchases over $100. 100% risk-free guarantee with a 30-day refund policy. Stay classy with True Classic. Your dad bod will thank you. And thank you to our friends at True Classic for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show and giving me some of my favorite shirts. All right, guys, with all that down, let's now move into main topic number 3. Chris, what is our third main topic today?
This one comes from Box Office Fan. Ben Kingsley, who was last seen in Shang-Chi, may be returning to Hollywood in the upcoming Wonder Man show. This makes sense as Wonder Man is both an Avenger and actor in the comics. What do you think of the news Ben Kingsley may be returning? And do you think Disney will talk about Wonder Man at D23?
You know what's funny? Ben Kingsley and his character in the MCU, Trevor, I have very mixed feelings on. Well, not mixed feelings on, but feelings on one project or the other. When you go into Iron Man 3, the promise, Rob, we were talking about this on Open Mic yesterday. The promise of his Mandarin was so overwhelming. We talked about that one character poster Iron Man 3 put out of it's just Ben Kingsley on his throne with this kind of lean back, his hand like this with the glasses on. It is one of the most badass character posters ever. And just the way he would talk in the threads, "You'll never see me coming." It's like, dear, this is going to be awesome. It didn't quite work out that way. No. And you know, listen, I don't hate them. I don't hate Iron Man 3. It's definitely got some stuff to it, whatever. But, you know, that left some people wanting. Then we met him again in the Marvel short. And I can't remember what the name of the short was, but it's now with Trevor in prison. And when he gets brought, there's
Hail
the
to
character
the king.
poster. Hail to the
King.
Look at that poster. Tell me that is not one of the most, maybe the best single character poster that the MCU has ever put out. That is just awesome. The hair on him, too, is just incredible. And that wardrobe. Have you ever interviewed the designer of that? Because I want to know who designed
No.
that. That outfit is amazing. But then there was Hail to the King, where he's in prison, which was hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. When you find out the Mandarin has broken him out of prison. Then they never revisited that again for years.
For years.
Until we got to Shang-Chi. And he pops up in Shang-Chi. And I adored him in Shang-Chi. Adored him in that. Like totally night and day difference from how I initially felt about him coming out of Iron Man 3. I absolutely loved his character in this. And now, yes, it looks like he is coming back for the Disney Plus series, announced series, Wonder Man. This comes to us from Variety, who writes the following. Ben Kingsley is poised to reprise the role of Trevor Slattery in the upcoming Wonder Man series from Marvel Studios at Disney Plus. Variety has learned exclusively from sources. The show was first revealed to be in the works back in June. It will focus on the Marvel character Simon Williams, aka Wonder Man. In the comics, Williams is the son of a wealthy industrialist whose company falls on hard times due to competition from Tony Stark's Stark Industries. Williams then accepts an offer from villain Baron Zemo that gives him ionic superpowers, including super strength and durability. After fighting the Avengers several times, Wonder Man ultimately joined their ranks. All right, so I love the fact that Ben Kingsley's character is coming back, just because I loved him in Shang-Chi. But as I mentioned on Open Mic yesterday, Wonder Man is honestly one of the MCU characters I know very, very little about. Other than the fact that he existed. Other than that, I don't really know much about him. So, Rob, let's start with you on this. What do you think about the announcement that Ben Kingsley is not done with the MCU yet? He's coming back for this Wonder Man series. And can you give us a little bit of info on Wonder Man?
Well, so Wonder Man was actually created by Baron Zemo. So they could bring Zemo back too. Because so Wonder Man's the son of a weapons manufacturer, an industrialist, like you said, that's that Tony Stark sort of put out of business. And he was an actor, and he did, and he kind of fell on hard times, but he fell in with Baron Zemo. He was broken out of, he was in jail, but Baron Zemo, what is it, the ionic ray or something, and created him. And he had to have a treatment, otherwise he was going to die, but he was imbued with powers. And of course, he trumped up a battle with the Masters of Evil to make it look like he was a good guy, and the Avengers brought him into their ranks, and it kind of went. Yeah, it kind of went from there. And so I would love to see. It makes me believe that they're going to bring Zemo back, because how cool would that be? And why not Trevor Slattery, which they probably were friends or something, or they were in plays together. Who knows? But if they're going to bring back Trevor Slattery, they'll probably bring back the 10 Rings as well. I mean, I can imagine it's all part of that same thing.
Well, the last words on the screen in Shang-Chi were the 10 Rings will return.
Yes. I mean, I think that's what they're going to do. I think you're going to see Shang-Chi's sister. I think you're going to see all of that.
Oh yeah. Well, she's mounting her new empire.
Right.
She's going to be behind it all.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Zemo winds up working for her, and it could all come around somehow.
Well, I mean, it does check the box that she's not a superpowered being, because he's got a real ethical thing about superpowered beings that he doesn't like. So, I mean, that could fit in that. Of course, he's probably going to be in Thunderbolts. It's probably going to be part of that. But I know, Chris, you hear about this. What do you think about Sir Ben Kingsley returning for Wonder Man?
Oh, man. As long as we still get Morris, that's all I want.
Oh, God,
I
please
love
let
the
Morris
two
be
of
there.
them together. It's so pure and so sweet. I do think it could create for some really fun, ridiculous stuff, because Wonder Man is such a schmuck when he first comes on the scene.
Yeah.
He's such a tool. And I think that'll be a really, really fun juxtaposition between those two characters who are pretending to be part of this world and then are thrust into it. I think that dynamic is going to be really, really interesting to explore and pretty meta. And I think it can be done very, very well.
You know, it's funny you say that, because it could be like a road movie with the two of them.
Yeah.
Falling deeper and deeper into trouble.
All right, just to throw some gasoline on this fire. I don't often like to do this. So I've heard whispers about who's going to play Wonder Man. And I'm not the only one. Other people have heard these whispers too. I'm not making no representation that this is fact. I'm saying I, like some other people, have heard the same whispers. Nathan Fillion. I've heard some whispers that Nathan Fillion may actually end up being Wonder Man. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. Nathan's not getting any younger, but I mean, him and Ben Kingsley on screen together would be pretty damn fun.
Great.
You know, I think here's my thing about that, is that I think Nathan Fillion, it's not like he couldn't be good, but he's not a movie star. I mean, he could be, but he doesn't.
No, this is Disney Plus.
That's true. I mean, that's true, but I think Wonder Man also has to translate, because this is going to be a character that is an Avenger, and I think that, well, look, I don't doubt, have they ever missed in casting? Since the MCU has started, their casting for these things has been pretty impeccable.
It
And look, you know
really
what? You're right,
has.
because Oscar Isaac was Moon Knight. So, I mean, they can get anybody. I think, but like you pointed out, Nathan Fillion's a little long in the tooth. I think a Wonder Man's probably going to be younger. Maybe
They totally could. I mean, the one thing I'll say about him, though, is over the last, because a few years ago, he had gotten a little squishy. But I mean, in recent years, when you watch his show, The Rookie, he has gotten himself back into
Rookie,
some.
Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And in Suicide, he's gotten himself into some pretty
His
ridiculous
fan-made
shape.
Uncharted.
What about the guy who plays Lucifer as Wonder Man?
Tom Ellis?
Tom Ellis.
It's hard for me to say, simply because while Tom Ellis's portrayal of Lucifer was my favorite character on TV for all the years that Lucifer was on, the reality is I've never seen him in anything else. So I don't know what he's capable of. Nathan Fillion, I've seen him in a bunch of stuff. I know what he can do.
Yeah.
So, but with Tom Ellis, I just don't know.
And Nathan Fillion bridges that gap too of being a leading man who can do action and everything, who has impeccable comedy chops.
Huge comedy chops.
I mean, maybe he could be good. You know,
So I don't know. Again, I'm just saying, I wouldn't be surprised at all if we come out of D23 finding out that Nathan Fillion is playing Wonder Man.
and he aims to misbehave.
Oh, it's Henry Cavill.
Listen, if I'm not back in 10 minutes, you come rescue me. One of the greatest lines in movie history. One of the absolute best lines in movie history. I love that line. All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think? about Sir Ben Kingsley returning for the Disney Plus series Wonder Man. And a little bit of side note, what would you think of Nathan Fillion playing Wonder Man? I'd be down for it, but who knows? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and leave us your thoughts. All right, guys, with that down, let's move on to main topic number 4. Now, I want you to brace yourselves because last night, an emergency meeting was held with all the top representatives of Disney, Paramount, Universal, and Warner Brothers, trying to figure out how they're all going to reschedule their movies to avoid this thing because it is coming. Ladies and gentlemen, it is coming. So let's get into main topic number 4. Chris, what do we got?
Oh, this is from Alfonso. I might as well never watch another trailer again because my eyes have just seen the greatest trailer of all time and nothing will ever touch it. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey just put out a trailer and I can't believe what my eyes just saw. How? Can't they get sued for copyright infringement? Actually, I don't care. I have to see this movie now. Did you guys see it? And what do you think?
Ladies and gentlemen, the record books are about to be rewritten. The Oscars are already planning an entirely new category because it's just not fair to put this movie in with all the other trash. They have no chance.
Clear out a spot in the $1 billion club.
That's right. Make way. Make way for Prince Ali and the coming of Blood and Honey. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey is coming, and the first taste of glory has come from it in the first trailer for Winnie the Pooh, future Academy Award winner, Blood and Honey. Now, of course, we talked about this a couple of months ago when they announced that they were making this movie because, for those of you wondering and you ask and think, Winnie the Pooh has fallen into public domain. The original writings of Winnie the Pooh have fallen into public domain, which means we can make a Winnie the Pooh movie if we want.
Clearly,
This
anybody
is the
can.
one.
Clearly, anybody can. So taking advantage of public domain, somebody decided to come along and make a horror movie. What happens if Christopher Robins leaves Pooh and Eeyore and Piglet and whatever behind? What happens if they feel abandoned? And what happens if that makes them bitter and vengeful? Well, this is the answer to that. Ladies and gentlemen, the greatest trailer of 2022, nay of the 2020s, nay of my lifetime. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey has come out. Apparently, and not surprisingly, they shot this movie in 10 days. According to reports, then I don't know if that's 100% true, but according to reports, this movie was shot in 10 days, I think for pocket change and lunch money. It looks like. These are not the greatest costumes in the world. Let's be honest. This thing looks like it's going to be real bad. But you know what? I would be lying to you if I didn't tell you I'm really excited to watch it and see how it turns out. Seeing Piglet take an axe and slice someone's head off in the middle of a pool. I mean, I don't know what it says about us as a society, but I want to see this movie. I cannot wait. Rob, you had a chance to see the trailer for Pooh, Blood and Honey. What did you think?
John, I watched this trailer and I have to say I was outraged.
Outraged.
Yeah, once again, the failure of a white cis male causes all the problems in this film.
Only Christopher
Yeah, I mean,
Robin.
Christopher Robin abandons these poor animals. You know, he had probably something better to do, part of the patriarchy. And he left them. John, he left them. The failure of an entire generation. Again, how many movies do I have to watch where my failures are thrown in my face? But barring that, John, I'll get over that.
Hot toys.
I think the choice of using a British cast for this, like British girls, because they speak with British accents, which makes them immediately that much smarter.
Yes.
I mean,
That's
do you ever
just
know?
science.
That's how it works.
Everybody knows Americans can tell you. It doesn't matter what accent you have, wherever you are in England, whether you're from Manchester or Birmingham or London, whatever. Anyone from the UK is always smarter than Americans. So I immediately watched this and I realized that these characters who were walking into this situation had a leg up from normal American slasher characters because they were smarter. So I think, once they realize that Eeyore is missing or something, or maybe Eeyore is the big bad that comes out at the end and you find out he's the one that's been really helping the whole time. I have to say that, like you, John, man, I thought I was excited for Barbarian. And I am excited for Barbarian because I hear nothing but great things. But this, I didn't realize I've waited my entire life to see this film.
What if Tigger and Roo come out at the end and save the day or something like that?
Oh, that'd be so nice.
Well, that's the sequel.
Yeah, that's the sequel, Tigger and Roo. That's a good title for something. Anyway, Chris, you saw the trailer. How quickly are you going to watch it?
Oh my gosh, this looks like such trash. Oh, they were so preoccupied if they could that they didn't ask themselves if they should make it.
Come on, look at that. That is peak horror right there. That's better than
Gross.
Motel Hell.
Gross.
That's better than anything, you know.
I mean, it's a movie in which women are going to be brutalized. How novel. What an interesting new concept.
But it's
And-
80s horror slasher.
By the way, but that never gets old, Chris.
Oh, it's so played out for some of us. And if you're into this, that's fine. I get it. But it does just look like most slasher movies. They just happen to give them Winnie the Pooh characters. If there isn't Jim Cummings doing a voiceover cameo, though, what the hell was the point of this? If we don't hear him go, oh, bother, as he slices off somebody's head, then this was a missed opportunity.
I mean, Pooh Blood and Honey sounds like a trip to the proctologist.
How long you been sitting on that one?
That's a nice
You
pun
ate
there,
that
too.
shit up, John. Nom, 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 nom.
God, this looks so glorious. It's like, this is to me, in all honesty, this looks like the dream of a couple of buddies just going, let's make our own little movie. And you know, Winnie the Pooh is public domain now.
Yeah.
Like, I got $1,000 in my bank account. I got 800. Let's make some masks and make a little horror movie. And you know what? If that's what this is, it's the most glorious thing ever. So I don't know. I can't wait to see it. Questions for you guys. Did you see the trailer for Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey? If so, what did you think? Should the Oscars start clearing the path and just start, etching in the winners'
Dude,
names
this is
at
the
Oscars
Return
now?
of the King. It's going to be sweet.
Return of
This
the King.
is Return of the King.
It's gonna be
It's going to have
sweet.
5 different endings.
You know, I've heard Annie Lennox is recording the theme song.
Oh no, just her and her dulcet tones. Winnie the Pooh. That was brilliant.
How can it be? Oh my God. Annie Lennox is singing this theme song.
Into the beehive.
That was Into the Beehive.
Into the beehive.
Should we do a ticket
You're
watch?
perfect.
Thank you.
Take it watch. Yes. Oh,
Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Take it.
No viewers.
Oh.
Taylor, this is going to be your big segment. John, I'm standing outside the theater where 5 people are here with me.
I'd swipe right on
4 of them are from other theaters.
Okay. The Annie Lennox thing really got me. All right, guys, questions for you. On a scale of 10 to 11, how excited are you for Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey? Whatever your thoughts are, jump into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, with that down, let's move into main topic number 5. Chris, what is our 5th main topic today?
This one comes from Alex. Hey, John, I know the social media reactions to Rings of Power came out last week, but like you've said before, they can skew a little positive until they give their full reviews. Well, the review embargo is over, and as of right now, the Rotten Tomatoes score is 100%. Obviously, it won't stay at 100%, but this is a huge opener. What do you think, and does it make you even more excited to see it this week?
All right, thanks a lot for saying that in. Sorry, I'm still kind of recovering from that. Thanks a lot for saying that in. And yeah, look, for the last 5 years, my most anticipated television show that I've been looking forward to is The Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. I'm going to go see it in 7 hours. I'm going to go see it in a movie theater in 7 hours. I am ridiculously excited to see it. The early reactions came out and they were all just glowing. Everybody seemed to really like it. Now, but as you're right, as we've pointed out on the show, the thing is, first reactions are, you've got one sentence you can give, 1 or 2 or 3 sentences, and that's it. You can't give your full thoughts. So you want to just kind of sum up in an initial social media reaction. And if you liked it, then that's all going to sound glowing and it's all going to sound great. And a little bit later, when you get the person's full review, yeah, they still like the movie, but they also have time that they can go into the things that didn't work for them, right? So that's why we talk about on the show a lot that, I mean, yeah, if people say they like the movie, it means they like the movie, but they do tend to skew a little bit more to the positive, unless the movie's really bad, in which it then skews a little bit more to the negative. But still, everybody came out of watching, everybody who got to see the first couple of episodes of Rings of Power, they all said they liked it. Some completely loved it. Some just liked it as the first 2 episodes. We'll see where they go. Well, now the full reviews are out. So now we can get more into it. And you're right. After, I think it was the first 14 reviews that came out, and they were from the likes of Slash Film, RogerEbert.com, Inverse, all these types of outlets. It did hold 100%. You're right. So when the first batch of reviews came out, it did hold 100%. Right now, they're at about 27 reviews, the way I'm looking at it right now, and it is at 94. So 94% right now, with 20 some odd reviews at the moment, as I keep refreshing here. And it's, things from like Digital Spy and comicbook.com and Collider and Inverse and on and on and on. And it's all great. Now, with that score, though, it's important because I had a little bit of a conversation, a quick exchange in the live chat of today's show before the show started, where, one of our viewers said, well, wait a minute, 100%? Because it was at 100% at the time. You expect me to believe this this show is absolutely flawless. And again, this goes to people's basic misunderstanding of what Rotten Tomatoes is. 100% on Rotten Tomatoes is not saying a movie or a show is perfect by any stretch of the imagination. All that's saying is that all the people who saw it, at bare minimum, enjoyed it. Maybe they thought it was the greatest thing ever made. Maybe they were like, I'm a little on the fence about it, but overall I liked it. I mean, so it can be anywhere in between that, right? So when you see on Rotten Tomatoes something has 100%, it's not suggesting that it's perfect by any stretch of the imagination. It's just saying that out of all the people who saw it, they all, at bare minimum, enjoyed it. That's it. The same thing's true for something you see that has 0%. Something has a 0, that doesn't mean it's absolutely the worst thing ever made. It just means that out of everybody who saw it, they just basically didn't like it. Maybe they thought there was some good stuff about it, but overall they didn't enjoy it, or maybe they thought it was the worst thing in the world. So right now, holding at this moment a 94%, that is not saying that this is 6% away from being a perfect TV show. Not at all. It's just telling us that out of all the critics and outlets that have seen it and are reporting on it so far, 94% of them say they enjoyed it. Okay, great. Let me tell you my one big concern. And Chris, you and I were talking about this a little bit before the show. Because I'm going to go see it in about 7 hours. Here's my big worry. I am somebody, when it comes to my television watching, I do not like it when you've got to get 6 or 7 episodes into something before you really get to the show being good. It's like, no, I don't owe you 3 hours or 4 hours or 5 hours of my time before you finally start to engage me or finally start to entertain me. Now, not everybody's like that. And I'm not saying I'm right for feeling that way. That's just the way I feel. It's not right or wrong. It's just the way I am with a lot of shows, right? Like it's your responsibility as a show to, you don't have to come out with guns blazing, but you have to hook me. It's your job to hook me. It's not my job to give you a chance. So in the first couple of episodes, like House of the Dragon, does House of the Dragon come out exploding onto the scene? No, but they delivered engaging, interesting, fascinating excellence in TV.
It splooshed well.
It splooshed. So now one of my worries is, John, so what about your worry? So here's my worry. My worry for myself and the style of viewer that I am is that even a lot of the outlets that are saying this thing's magnificent are saying it is a slow start. It's a slow burn to start. And that's fine for a lot of people. I just worry that it might lose me. I'm just kind of worried that it might lose me. But I don't know. When I think about it, it all depends. Rob, you pointed out to me when I said this earlier, you said, yeah, but different people's definition of slow can be very different, because if you interpret slow a certain way, you could look at House of the Dragon episode 2 as being very slow because there's no action in it.
Right.
But narratively, it ain't slow. Narratively, it's great. So it depends on interpretation. It depends on how you see it. I mean, I'm very encouraged to see all these people really liking the show. That's great. Again, 7 hours from now, I will be sitting down in the theater to watch it myself. 9 hours from now, I'll be walking out of the theater, hopefully having had a good time, but you never know. Anyway, Chris, you're seeing now we're getting not just the initial reactions, but now we're getting the full reviews what's your takeaway from all this, and where's your expectation level right now?
I mean, I think one of the best ones I saw was that with all of the money that Amazon has put into this, it pays off. And that makes me very happy because we talked so much going into this about how expensive this show was, how so much was being put into it. And I'm glad we're seeing it have a good payoff here. I love that so many critics too were, hey, I was skeptical. I went into this honestly not wanting to like it or having a problem with it. And they came out changed by it, going,
Right.
okay, I'm on board with this. I will say, I mean, what we talked about off camera, Tolkien is slow.
Oh yeah, if you read Tolkien,
it's slow. And so I don't really mind that from this show. I mean, it's the same thing when I've talked to people about Dune a little bit of, well, this really follows the pacing of the book and this pacing makes sense for me as a fan of the book. And I went, oh, okay, I can get behind this as somebody who hadn't read that and was wondering about the pacing issues. So I'm probably going to give it way too much grace because I could let this show just be about like them talking to me about grass and hobbit meals. Well, there's no hobbits yet, but I could have just them showing this world and I'd be a happy camper. I'm really, really excited that it seems like it is going to live up to the hype that's been built up around it.
One hopes.
I hope.
We'll see what I'm saying tomorrow. Anyway, Rob, we're hearing the reviews now. We've seen the trailers. What's your takeaway at this point? And now on the eve, because really for us tomorrow night, I think it's at 6:00 tomorrow night. It's going to air on Amazon, 6:00 Pacific Standard Time. So what's your expectation now going into these final hours?
Well, it's interesting to me. I kind of look at this differently in that, there was no, J.R.R. Tolkien did not give a voice to this age. He was more of a historian of this age. Whereas in Lord of the Rings, all the characters speak, they talk and you get to know them and you understand who they all are and everything. All of this is coming out of, the appendices of Return of the King or whatever. So they had to make a TV show with characters and storylines and all that. What I'm interested in is I want to see something that provides an incredible epic tale with richly drawn characters. The same thing I'm always looking for. So to me, this could be, let's say if this was not called Lord of the Rings and had nothing to do with J.R.R. Tolkien and was just the exact same story with the same characters that you're about to see.
Does it work?
It doesn't work. That's what I want, because I think so often the fantasy genre is a genre that I grew up with. I read Tolkien, I read the Sword of Shannara, and I read all that stuff, the Lord Fowl's Bane, the Chronicles of Thomas Covenant. I read a lot of fantasy, but I was never a huge fan of the genre. I read the main cornerstones of it, but it never really, whereas something like Game of Thrones really interests me because of all the political intrigue and the machinations and what's happening. This storyline fascinates me. Just what happens in the Second Age is something I'm really interested in seeing, how it's dramatized. So I would expect, John, being that this is not just the most expensive TV show, it's the most expensive anything that's ever been made in entertainment. So I would expect nothing less than we're getting top drawer entertainment. I mean, the best, if it isn't the best television show ever made, it better damn well come close, because
I don't need it to be the best television show
what I mean is
made.
in terms of its resources.
I need it to be really good.
Yeah, I'm being hyperbolic there, but I just want a great, epic fantasy show that tells me a really compelling story with great characters I can really get involved with. Whether or not that they're true to Tolkien or not, I'm not expecting. I mean, there's been a lot of analysis done, and having worked on the Lord of the Rings discs, I mean, as we talked about, a lot of liberties in those Lord of the Rings movies.
That's the funny thing with some of the people that I talked to today about who have concerns about it, and which is fair, have concerns about how close to the source material will be, which is a totally fair concern. It totally is. But it's like they forget how back when the Peter Jackson version came out, there were a lot of very hardcore Tolkien fans that hated Jackson's because it is so different.
Oh, and I
from
still
the
have
books.
friends that hate those movies.
Your friends are delightful.
And to me,
What's that, Jonathan?
I said your friends are delightful.
to me, what I find interesting about the Lord of the Rings films is I thought they did a really great job of capturing the spirit of the story that Tolkien was telling in the Lord of the Rings books.
Yes.
Now, there were changes made because when you're adapting something to another medium, you have to make those changes.
Absolutely.
You know, when Legolas is snowboarding down
The steps
at Helm's Deep, you know, when he's doing that, I don't think Tolkien imagined Legolas would do that. Or when going down the what is it, the Mumakil or whatever, the horn or the snout, the trunk,
The Oliphant?
Yeah, the Oliphant. Yeah, the Oliphant's snout.
The Timothy Oliphant?
Yeah, I don't think that happened. That Tolkien envisioned that either. But when you're putting that in a movie, it's a great moment of, I mean, when Legolas is just, it's awesome because it's a visual medium, and you can't convey that when you're reading. So that kind of stuff doesn't bother me. Or Treebeard, the ants being slow.
Yeah, that is not how they are in the book.
No, but it's funny. And I mean, hell, you got John Rhys Davies playing Gimli and Treebeard. And a lot of people are like, what is that? But look, so I just want a great show, a great story, great characters. So these characters are 1,500 years apart. I mean, look, now, if you were to ask me about Star Trek, I'd be like, arr, 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 you can't do that.
He's a
But
mean pirate.
I'm not as precious about Tolkien.
Well, here's
Give me
the
a
thing.
good story and good characters.
A lot of my friends have never I've been saying this since my movie blog days. And people really don't like that I say it, whether it's comic book fans, old TV show fans, novel fans, whatever. But I stand by this to this day, and I don't think it's ever been proven wrong. And I'm not the one who came up with this. It's just I heard this once, and I completely agree with this. The main job of a filmmaker, or in this case, television show thing, and I believe this 100%, the main job, I'll just use the term filmmaker. The main job of a filmmaker is not to be as faithful as possible to the source material. The main job of a filmmaker is to make the best product possible. That's their main job. And so, okay, so Peter Jackson made Frodo really different than the way he is in the book. Fine. I'm okay with that. Okay, Civil War took massive departures from what the Civil War story was in the original source material. That's fine. The thing I am concerned about as a television viewer, as a movie viewer is, do you give me a good product? Because sometimes, and you've pointed this out to me, Rob, sometimes the way something is on the printed page of a comic book or of a novel or whatever, if you just did it that way on screen, it doesn't play as well on the screen as it does in a book. So that's why I don't need this thing to be as close as possible to the source material, because you and I talked about this. The source material in this case is a thing with a lot of gaps. It's really based on a lot of appendices and things like that, right? I just want them to say, like you just said so eloquently, I just want to see a good product. That's all I care about. In and of itself, on its own merits, give me a good product. That doesn't work for everybody. Some people, who are fans of certain novels, they want to see something that's as close to the source material as possible. And for those people, it may or may not work when they see, the Da Vinci Code, or they see whatever is based on older works. And that's totally fair and legitimate. But for me, I just want to see the best show possible.
Also, we've talked a lot about I think one of the things that I don't want to see, and Peter Jackson really said it best. He said, when we were adapting Tolkien, they would make changes to make the story good. But he has said very eloquently as well that it was not up to us to inject our own personal beliefs into this material, that we were trying to maintain fealty to what Tolkien was trying to convey. And the idea that, one of the underlying messages of Tolkien's works was that he was really worried about the industrialization of what was happening.
The industrialized world versus the natural world.
And so that is, and metaphorically, what Isengard was doing was just that, that, and you could see it, and that was really well conveyed. But I think that a story that is essentially timeless, you don't want to so often, and this is such a weird example, John, but I keep thinking back to Peter Hyams' 2010. 2010, he decided, well, I'm going to inject what I feel about the Cold War in this movie. And so it's the Russians and the Americans are fighting each other. But in the original book, the Russians and the Americans teamed up to beat the Chinese. And if he had just made that movie, it would have been more relevant. It wouldn't seem as horribly dated as it seems now, because he decided, I'm going to inject my own beliefs into this when he didn't trust in the original material.
But all storytellers, to one degree or another.
No, it's true.
Yeah, all storytellers.
But I mean, the point though is that,
George Lucas certainly did that with Star Wars.
Right, but that was his.
Yeah.
I mean, But what I mean is, if you when you bring in things that are, I just don't like seeing things that get dated 10 years later because the messaging was so much of that time. And stories like this are timeless, and they've got the meanings of these stories are these deep-rooted myths, and even Tolkien went back into other mythologies hundreds of years old. And I hope that this is a story for the ages, not just today.
Chris, you know, when you look at this bigger issue of, because we all have things that we're favorites of. Like I am a big fan. My favorite comic book story run of all time is Age of Apocalypse. So, hey, listen.
By the way, dope.
Yeah, that's
a
for you,
dope
Soul.
storyline.
That's for you, Soul.
It is a dope storyline.
If
Not
Soul
a
is
dope
watching
movie.
today. So like when I saw that the new X-Men movie was going to be X-Men Apocalypse, I'm like, wee! I was very, very excited. Very disappointed that it had nothing to do with Age of Apocalypse whatsoever. So like all of us can have attachments to certain source material and whatever. For you, Chris, when you approach a movie that's either an updated version of an older movie or show, or based on a book, or based on a graphic novel, or based on some kind of manga or something like that, where is that for you? Like, how important is it to you that it stays as close to the source material as possible versus, can you think of examples of times when it didn't, or times when something completely departed from the source material and it worked for you or didn't? I don't know. Where's your line on that?
I mean, for me, I try to separate those two things, right? Because I can always have the source material. I can always go back to it. People freaked out about Cowboy Bebop, right?
Right, yeah.
This is trash and this is so disrespectful to the anime. Go watch the anime then. That's fine. No one's forcing you to watch this. And sure, there were things I didn't love in the live action, but I also thought that it had a lot of merit to it and I enjoyed it. Civil War was something where it was, well, this is very different, but it worked and I liked it. And so for something like Lord of the Rings, if I don't love Rings of Power, I can always go back to these books. I can always go back to these other movies. Heck, I can go play some video games. I can hang out with my dog Gimli and have a great day.
Son of Gloin.
Son of Gloin, his proper given name. But it's not going to detract from the original worth of those things that I love. I just might not love this new thing. And that's okay, because somebody else will. Not everything's made for me.
And also, John, I mean, there have been adaptations. Famously, Stephen King hated Stanley Kubrick's adaptation of The Shining.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Stanley Kubrick is my favorite director. And he frequently, whether he was Barry Lyndon, Lolita, even Dr. Strangelove, they were all based on books. And he took them in wildly different directions than the books were. He even worked with Nabokov, the writer of the author of Lolita, and changed the book, changed the story. But he adapted them. He kept the books as a jumping off point. But he took them where he wanted them to go, creating something new. And yet no one complains about, well, other than Stephen King.
Other than Stephen King, yes.
I mean, but The Shining, the Kubrickian version of The Shining, and then it shows up in Ready Player One, you know? And I think that when you have an artist reinterpreting another artist's book in a different form, you can come up with something really cool. And I'm curious to see, more than anything else, what have they come up with?
Yeah, I just don't want to come out of that theater tonight having been bored. That again, that's my one concern going in tonight.
I don't think you will.
I hope not. I really hope not. But I am super glad that I'm going to get to see all these visuals everybody's talking about on a big screen. So anyway, guys, question is for you. We are in the final countdown now for the new Lord of the Rings show, Rings of Power. The reviews have been very strong. But does that mean I'm going to like it? I'm not 100% sure, but we will find out. I certainly hope I do. What do you guys think? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. Okay, guys, with all that down, we are now going to open up the super chats because we're going to move into taking your live comments and questions, your thoughts, opinions, theories, speculation, whatever you got, send them on into us and we will spend the rest of the show just addressing that. But before we do, we want to hear from the sponsor of today's show, our friends over at Mint Mobile. We want to take a second and thank the sponsor of this video, Mint Mobile. After years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by big wireless providers, if we've learned anything, it's that there's always a catch. So when I first heard that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless starting at just $15 a month, I thought, what's the catch? But after talking to them and using their service, it all made sense. There isn't one. Mint Mobile's secret sauce is that they're the first company to sell wireless service online only. They cut out the cost of the retail stores and pass those sweet savings directly to you. And guys, I have been using Mint Mobile for months now, and I could not be more thrilled with the service. I also couldn't be more thrilled with the fact that my phone bill now is literally 1/3 of what it used to be with my previous major carrier. carrier. All plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number along with your existing contacts. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea.
And thanks to our friends over at Mint Mobile for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. Now over to you, Ray Ora.
No, thank you.
Come on, what's in the chat? Who's got something for us?
All right. We just got one from Ishmael Montoya.
Oh, does that mean he's cooked us more cookies?
Game day, John. What do you guys expect from She-Hulk tonight?
Well, I expect
20 minutes?
greatness. What do you expect from She-Hulk?
I want it to get weirder. I really want it to get weirder.
You don't think
man.
it's going to get weirder with all these superheroes or supervillains popping up that need legal advice?
I think so, and I understand we've had 2 episodes that are really, really trying to help build this world and get us invested in everything, but I'm ready for some weird antics, and that's what I hope we get.
I want to see some weird superheroic cases.
Yeah.
I want to see the legalities of superheroics that we might not normally think about.
Exactly. Everything that voicemail promised me when you'd call in the She-Hulk number, that's what I'm wanting.
Yeah, and they did. There's that ad too.
Mm-hmm.
They did the ad. I want that.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, the premise of not just having read the comics, but the premise of dealing with the legalities of what happens if you go on a rampage,
Yeah.
or what happens. Are you liable? Do the Avengers carry disaster insurance? Mm-hmm. And that's got to be, those premiums have to be
So
huge.
high. So high.
And what is the relationship between, say, a government agent and a superhero that's not affiliated with the government? If they team up together and cause damage, who has to pay for it?
Exactly, because we explored this a little bit in a more serious way with Michael Keaton's Vulture.
Right.
But I'm really excited to see how else we delve into this, especially from a comedic standpoint.
I totally agree. What do you think, John? What are you waiting for with She-Hulk tonight?
Well, I think this would be a great time to let everybody know that today at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we have our She-Hulk pregame show that we hope you guys will come and join us for. That, of course, is just 3 hours from now. So I will give my thoughts on that when we are getting to the pregame show about what I'm looking forward to tonight. This is a big night. I'm going to go see Rings of Power in theaters, come home, get a snack, and then settle in and watch She-Hulk tonight. All right, what's next?
Okay, Tim Platt writes, so with Futurama having more lives than a cat, of course it would be rebooted again. Well, they released the titles of the episodes, one of which is Zap Gets Canceled. I'm sold based on that title alone. Your thoughts?
I was never a big Futurama fan, but my favorite part of Futurama is Zap Brannigan. Zap Brannigan
Wearing those velour suits.
Oh my God.
What a luxury.
They said the killbots couldn't be defeated, so I sent wave after wave of my own men when I realized that each killbot had a certain kill limit. So I sent another wave after wave of my own men until they reached their limit. He is one of the best characters ever. So I love that title, the Zap Brannigan title. But again, I'd be lying if I told you I was a huge Futurama fan. I don't hate it or anything like that. It just wasn't really for me. All right, what's next?
Tara Jefferson writes, hi, JC crew. So happy to be living in the golden age of TV geekdom with my favorite show. Love spending my lunch hour with y'all and getting to spend my birthday with you too.
Oh, thank you so much
Happy
for that.
birthday, Tara.
Yeah, listen, we're about to be in a couple of days or a couple of weeks. We're going to be in a phase where all airing in the same week on television are going to be episodes of She-Hulk, of Andor, of House of the Dragon, and of Rings of Power all at the same time. I mean, that's crazy. That is absolutely crazy if you're a fan of genre stuff. It is an embarrassment of riches, as Rob would say.
I mean, if you think about it, it's quite unbelievable and unprecedented in the history of television. The MCU, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if a Harry Potter show showed up. I mean, how many more franchises would we have represented? It's a great time. And, there's Star Trek. I hate to say it, but I will say it. Star Trek Lower Decks has started. The new season of Star Trek Lower Decks. And the first episode's pretty good.
All right,
Ooh.
what's next?
I know.
Okay. Jasperson gifted 1 John Campea membership.
Thank you so much for that, dude. And I'm sure our viewer appreciates whoever got that gifted membership. Thanks for that, man.
All right. David Crabtree writes, there's a rumor a major studio is developing a biopic on Garrett Morgan. inventor of the traffic signal, but they haven't been given the green light.
David, I love you. David Crabtree, USMC. He's done a lot of great fan art of us. That doesn't matter. Those jokes don't belong here.
You know what's funny? I was going to buy it because, like, Greg Kinnear starred in a biopic about the guy who invented the windshield wiper. I mean, so a biopic about a guy who invented the
Like
traffic light.
Flash of Genius or something like that.
Something
like that. Which was like, what?
I could totally believe it. I totally could. All right, what's next?
So
Aaron-
love you, David.
Aaron Epstein writes, "Hey, Campea crew, which Disney Plus shows should have been movies and which shows deserve a season 2?
Well, just very quickly, absolutely 1,000%, Obi-Wan should have been a movie. There's no getting around that whatsoever. The ones that should get a season 2, other than Ms. Marvel, I mean, Loki is getting a season 2. I would have been fine if it didn't. Other than Ms. Marvel, and WandaVision is the best thing they've ever done, but it should not have a season 2. I mean, it was its own self-contained story,
Yeah.
period. But
It did get a sequel.
well, yeah,
Yeah.
it got Multiverse Madness in a way. But other than Ms. Marvel, I really can't think of one that I think should get a season 2 personally. But that's just me. All right, what's next?
Aiden Foley writes, "At some point in She-Hulk, I'd love there to be some conversation between Jennifer and Wong over the phone where there would be an opportunity for Jennifer to say, 'Sorry, wrong number. Do I regret making this joke? Hell yeah.'"
Yeah, no commentary.
We regret
on
it,
that.
too.
We regret it as well. All right, what's next?
Marl Jehovah writes, "Hi, Campea crew, loving all the new content and live shows. Over the 12 years I've been watching you, John, there's one thing I feel you don't do enough. Please take a few minutes to promote your stuff. Example, movies, merch, etc."
Well,
Yeah, John, get on that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, okay, so I've written a book that you can buy on Amazon. I've made a couple of movies that you can go. I mean, my most recent one, of course, Movie Trailers: A Love Story, is available on Amazon now. You can go on there and get that. Been some merch.
Send Rob your scripts.
Yeah, send Rob your script.
No, don't. No.
Slide into his DMs.
All right, what's next?
He loves them.
What's next?
That's it.
All right, that's it. All right,
Talk
let's
about
move
these
over to the
things.
super chat, shall we? What do we got first?
We are starting with Al Renshaw, and I can't see because of my action figures. So, Al Renshaw, Spider-Man and D23 poster. Disney couldn't do that without Sony permission, I would think.
I think there's some kind of celebration, like a celebration of Spider-Man going on at the thing. So don't read much into that. I think there's just something going on to celebrate something about Spider-Man
Plus,
there. I think some event there.
They do have a live action Spider-Man in Avengers Campus in
Yes.
California
Yeah.
Adventure.
They do.
So
And
All right,
right.
what's next?
Stubble McShave, rewatched Meet the Feebles. So many quotes. Well, what do you know? It's Dennis on a smelly minge binge, a true depiction of show business.
you know what? They're supposed to make. Have you seen Meet the Feebles?
It's been a while.
Oh my God! So for those of you who don't know, Peter Jackson made a Muppet movie called Meet the Feebles, and it's very R-rated.
Yeah, if you think you know what you're getting because you think you know Peter Jackson,
Oh no!
it's different.
Woo!
It's different.
And it's hilarious. And they're supposed to remaster it like in 4K, but I don't know.
All right, what's next?
Yeah, if all you know of Peter Jackson is Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, go back and see Bad Taste.
Yeah. And Bad Taste, Brain Dead, Meet the Feebles, the trifecta.
All right, what's next?
From SOMD Picker, can you see an MCU soft reboot after Multiverse Saga? Example, keeping a variant Iron Man, Captain, etc. in the 616.
Eventually they will, not after the multiverse, not after Secret Wars. No, they still got a few more. I think they might be doing it without Kevin Feige, but I don't think they're going to break this one that soon. I think it's still going to be going for a few years after that. All right, what's next?
From Sam Fisher, I think Nathan Fillion could have been Wonder Man 10 years ago. He's 51. I think you need an actor younger so he can be in the MCU for a decade.
It all depends on what you're expecting him to do and be. I mean, so for instance, I think Robert Downey Jr. can play Tony Stark till he's 75 because all the real action is being done in CGI anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So it all depends on what their idea with this is. Because like if we were talking about young Shang-Chi, if we're talking about Shang-Chi, yeah, you can't cast Simu Liu if he's already 51, 52, 53 years old. You can't do that. But it depends on what their approach with Wonder Man's going to be. So if they cast him, then we'll know that it's probably going to be okay that they did that. If they don't, maybe they go with the younger actor. All right, what's next?
From Kara Black, why would Feige put a Young Avengers film in Phase 6 when we already have 2 massive Avengers films in that phase? Putting 3 Avengers films in one phase is overdoing it.
Well, because they're not the Avengers. Like, they're getting Thunderbolts. That's a team-up show. That's going to be a team-up movie, I should say. Guardians of the Galaxy, that's a team-up movie. So really, it's nothing different. The only difference is that the word Avengers is in there. And again, I'm the guy who doesn't think they're going to do Young Avengers, at least not coming out of D23. But if they do, it's just a word. I mean, it's not really the Avengers. It's just like any other show that'll have multiple characters. It's not that big of a deal. All right, what's next?
From Andy, 1 of 2. Thanks for hyping the Sandman for me, Rob. The confrontation between Dream and John D was exceptional and trippy. Even more so because I binged through season 1. While I was baked as F. Never read Sandman, but Tom Sturridge is perfect as Dream. Morpheus looks like every 2007 emo boy's fantasy personified.
It's true. Andy, I'm glad you love it. I hope they renew that show. Please renew the show.
Please renew that show.
Well, I could not have been the only person that when I saw the first promo pictures, I thought they got Robert Pattinson to play Sandman.
Those cheekbones.
It was the cheekbones and the hair.
Yeah.
And that whole emo vibe. But yeah, the show is exceptional. It's so good. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Andy. All right, what's next?
From Sam Fisher, 1 of 2. I planned on reading Lord of the Rings for the first time, actually the Andy Serkis audios, and rewatching the extended edition movies for the first time in a decade before Rings of Power. I have 10 hours left in Return of the King.
And maybe we'll just have to come back to it.
Oh, wait, there it is. Excluding the appendices, and still need to watch the movies. I know there's no link production-wise, but still. Busy day tomorrow if I want to finish.
It's a Lord of the Rings festival for you. I mean, listen, I broke my tradition until we did our movie club of the Lord of the Rings films. But up until just a couple of years ago, I have been watching the Lord of the Rings trilogy every year. Every year I set aside a weekend and I watch it. I didn't the last couple of years until we did movie club about them, but that sounds like a good old festival. And I have not listened to the Andy Serkis audio version. I really do. I think I'm going to do that sometime this year. I can only imagine it's got to be great. All right, what's next?
From Luke Stockton, really looking forward to the Rings of Power, but have never seen the Lord of the Rings movies. Do you think I'd be lost if I watch it without having the background knowledge?
Somebody else brought this up on Open Mic yesterday. My best answer to that is this. Having not seen it, I can't really answer that. Like, I have to watch it to say, oh my God, you're going to be completely lost right from the beginning. But if you're a good showrunner, you will know how to make this show. It's like Kevin Feige with his MCU. Up until maybe Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which you really did need to see WandaVision to get it. But right up until that, any MCU movie, I had a friend of mine, first MCU movie they watched was Endgame, and they didn't feel lost at all. I mean, obviously there's a lot of nuance they probably missed, but they got the idea of it.
Yeah.
Because Kevin Feige knows that every single Marvel project should be a potential entry point for a new potential fan. And if they're worth their salt, if the people running this Lord of the Rings show are worth their salt, anybody should be able to jump on and watch this and not feel lost.
Well, also the difference with this is even Tolkien didn't describe the day-by-day existence of these characters. You know, they have to explore the world and establish who these people are, not just for people who haven't read the books, for people who have. I mean, we don't know anything about these people.
Right.
Some of them are made up out of whole cloth.
What's next?
They?
From Jedediah Elias, sorry for nope spoilers the other day. Just wanted to point out how amazing Hoytama's cinematography was in that movie.
Oh, so good.
In Her, 2013, Interstellar, and Dunkirk. Still no Oscar yet?
This is the thing, Jedediah, about the Oscars. You don't just get a merit. Like, it's like, you know what? You've done good work. Here's an Oscar. You have to turn in the performance as a cinematographer, as a writer, as a costume designer, as an actor, as a director. You have to turn in the performance of a lifetime in a year that hopefully, fingers crossed, somebody else doesn't happen to do it a little bit better. It is so hard to get an Oscar. It's crazy. So yeah, it is nuts when you think about people with a career like that.
Roger Deakins took decades to get his Oscars.
Yeah.
Decades.
Martin Scorsese. Not until The Departed did he get a Best Director. It is a challenging thing. And that's why you got to put some respect on the name of anybody who's carrying one of them around. You got to. All right, what's next? From South Texas Shark, where in the hell is the restroom in that office?
It's not.
There is no bathroom in our office.
We keep a bucket under our desk. Where do you keep
and you
yours?
know what? That was actually one of the appealing things about this office, because we went and looked at a couple. And one of the offices that we looked at had a bathroom, but we thought, who's going to clean it? I mean, obviously it would have been Ray, but
Obviously.
I mean, like asking,
Obviously.
we're like,
Probably would have been me.
I don't want to clean the bathroom. Who's going to clean the bathroom? So we, where our office space is, we are in a, what would you call this type of a building? Where like there are
An office park.
It's
Yeah.
an office,
office
park
park.
building, right? And each floor has its own bathroom. And so we have a key, and literally the bathroom is just 2 or 3 doors down. The great thing about it is it doesn't smell up our office. None of us have to clean it.
Come on, we don't do anything that smells.
They have custodial staff that comes and cleans it every day. Spicking, span clean, as just an incredible, gorgeous shape. So it's not in our office, and for us, that was actually a pro. That was a plus side for us.
Any other questions about where we'd go to the bathroom?
Yeah.
Well, I gave a tour the other day, and I gave a tour video the other day of the new studio, and some people were asking, it's like, we didn't see a bathroom. It's like, so it's
None of us
perfectly-
go. We're all built
Yeah.
like Ken and Barbie dolls.
You ever see a bathroom on the bridge at the Starship Enterprise?
Good point.
They just open a window.
You ever see a bathroom in Star Wars at all until Mandalorian? Nope. All right. Anyway, what's next?
From Suthius, y'all think we'll see Ultron again? Odd job title on Jen's laptop of Ultron bot cleanup. His What If episode, and he makes an appearance in a new dinner story footage about Disney's newest ship.
I honestly don't think so. I don't think we will. But Ultron is such an interest. Like I keep going back to that movie, and every time I watch it, I appreciate it a little bit more and a little bit more every time I see it. But I don't think we're gonna. I mean, and What If, sure, but I don't think we're really gonna get him back.
Ultron is eternal, and when you least expect it, he'll come back.
All right. Okay, what's next?
From J Master, will you guys be tuning into the must-see game on ESPN MNF with Joe Buck and Troy Aikman doing the play-by-play on September 12th as Russell Wilson returns to Seattle as a Bronco to face the Seahawks?
Oh, let me think about that. Yes.
So many words that I don't know. Explain
Yes,
it.
I am.
How many words I don't know.
What's going on?
I mean, okay, so you go ahead and explain it, Rob.
Well, Russell Wilson, who took the Seahawks to multiple Super Bowls
And won
winning
one.
one, left the Seahawks and became a Denver Bronco.
The betrayal.
It's just par for the course for the game.
Okay.
You know, you have to go along. I love Russell Wilson. We lost him.
Okay.
But so he's coming back to Seattle
very
to
mature.
play. We are playing against this new team that we don't know what's going to happen with the Seahawks this season. I hope Uncle Pete can pull it through, but we're going to watch the Seahawks face their former leader.
Ooh.
Now, the
This is a lot
NFL's
of
doing a
drama.
lot of really interesting game ones because not only is that happening where Russell's going back to face the Seahawks, Baker Mayfield, who was the quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, led them to their biggest winning seasons since I can remember, and led that team, got unceremoniously dumped for a quarterback who hadn't played in over a year and had to settle almost 20 plus sexual misconduct allegations and had to settle them out of court and has been suspended for 11 games by the NFL. And they dumped Baker Mayfield for that. So Baker Mayfield, I think he ended up on the Carolina Panthers. So their game one, Baker Mayfield with the Carolina Panthers taking on the Cleveland Browns. I mean, so the NFL has done a really good job this year of creating some great drama for week one.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. All right, what's next?
From Andy, I love seeing Hailee Steinfeld, who is my future ex-wife, getting more work in the MCU. After all, I need those future alimony checks.
Yeah, between her music career and her movie career and her television. By the way, her what's the name? Emily
Oh, the Dickinson Show?
the Dickinson Show.
Yeah.
My Anne, like I said, she's Anne's favorite celebrity other than Tom Hanks. But yeah, you don't have to worry about her having the money to pay alimony check. She's doing just
She
fine.
gonna make you sign a prenup, Andy.
Yeah, damn right. 'Cause she's that smart too.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
From CJ Rebirth, speaking of Pooh, I absolutely love the Chris Robin movie with Ewan McGregor a few
Yeah.
years back. Also, do you think Rings of Power will have the One Ring theme?
Well, they brought back Howard Shore
Yeah.
to do the score of the movie, or to do the score of the show.
I think
which
it'll
got
have
a lot of
elements.
people
Well,
very
he did
happy.
the theme, but then
Right.
Bear McCreary did this.
They're doing
By the
show.
way, that alone, if nothing else, I'm excited to hear the music because both of those composers are, I mean, incredible.
Yeah, and as far as the Ewan McGregor, Christopher, I thought that was a very charming.
So
I
charming.
did too. I really
I liked it a lot. All right, what's next?
From Randall Workman, John, I, like you, felt Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was trash when it started. Recently binged through the show, and now I think it's one of the best Marvel shows. Have you ever given it a second go? Thanks and bring on the filthy.
Yeah, I accidentally got kneed in the balls playing football once, and I don't need to give that a second go.
No?
Because you know what? Maybe if I did it again, I'd enjoy it more. No, I'm good. Look, I bailed on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but then got talked back into trying it again, and I finished out the series right up to Robot Coulson going, bye, everybody. Like, no.
That sounded
listen,
like Goofy.
All due respect and light. Listen, if you, to those, many of you who really liked Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., God bless. If you like that, that's awesome. I celebrate that you like that. I want people to love the stuff they watch, even if it's something that I don't like. But to me, and I'm only speaking for myself, God, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was terrible. And it had its moments for me, had its moments. I think, was it their 100th episode or something like that? I think they had like a 100th episode. And I remember I tuned in and watched it. And I remember that I thought was like one of their best episodes. Like, it was great. And they certainly had moments. But overall, I wish I liked it. It's Marvel. I love Clark Gregg. I love the Agent Coulson character. I love Ming-Na Wen. Again, good things about it. And I wanted to love it. And I wanted to like it. But it was vomit on toast. I really hated that show. And this is the funny thing. I think Disney knew I hated it. And at every Disney premiere I would go to, and I have no proof of this, but it has to be, it was no coincidence. Every single time I would go to a premiere, they would sit me right in the middle of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. cast. Like every time. I think they just knew because it made me uncomfortable. But it was what it was. Anyway, yeah, so there's that.
That's deliciously petty. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Whew.
All right, what's next?
From Kevin Rubio. Hey, just trying to make sure you don't make Netflix's mistake and cross-promote your great show, Designing Hollywood, this week.
Yeah, so I put up on social media, on my various social media outlets yesterday that we have a couple. First of all, you need to be watching the show that is on the John Campea Network, brought to you by iconic, legendary Hollywood designer Marilyn Vance and Martika Barrow, producer. They created Designing Hollywood, and it now has a new home here on the John Campea YouTube channel. And Rob hosts many of the episodes. They're great. Well, we've got two really good ones coming up here. Today, you're actually recording your interview with the designer of Ms. Marvel.
And who worked with Mira Nair, and who actually is the editor of GQ India.
Ooh. Oh, I didn't realize that.
And he kept that position while he works on films.
And then later this week, I will be interviewing. Now, I haven't asked her the pronunciation name properly, but I believe it's Jani Tamimi, who is the designer of House of the Dragon, Harry Potter, James Bond, Black Widow. I mean, so I'll be interviewing her a little bit later this week. So the next couple of episodes we got coming up on Designing Hollywood. Keep your eyes on it.
And we're stepping up the production value quite a bit.
Yes.
With graphics by Ray Ora.
Graphics by Ray Ora. We're moving the production of it in-house here into our studio. So yeah, we're really excited about it. All right. Thank you for that. What's next?
From Jonathan Vigoa. As a Gen Z folk, Showtime doesn't seem all that enticing to me. It really just seems like a price hike for a bunch of shows I don't care about. That's fair.
I mean,
well, I would say, but how do you know you don't care about them unless you've sampled them? Like, I would say Ray Donovan's something you might get a kick out of.
Ray Donovan is a great show.
Ray Donovan is so freaking good. I love that show. Dexter is so good.
Yeah.
Homeland was a cultural phenomenon
Homeland's
for a
great.
lot of years. Like, I mean, it's just, yeah, they have a lot of good stuff. And this is a great opportunity for you to be signed up to a service like these shows you've heard so much about. Give a few of them a shot. You're guaranteed not to love all of them, but I think you're guaranteed to like a couple of them, especially Ray Donovan. It's so good. All right, what's next?
Good.
From Raymond Verada. Why does She-Hulk have better hair than Jennifer? Why doesn't She-Hulk have armpit hair or hairy legs? Remember when singer Paula Cole got mad at Entertainment Weekly for photoshopping her armpit hair?
Raymond, my brother. Who the fuck cares? Really?
Well,
we're talking about somebody who turns into a radioactive 7-foot muscle machine, and we're worried about whether she has armpit hair?
Well, I mean, it's the eternal question of how does Superman shave?
Now, what razor blades can he possibly use?
He has to use like a mirror and bounce his
own heat vision.
Yeah.
Absolutely, we've seen them do that in some shows and stuff like that.
I mean, I think that's actually a legit question. Why does Elizabeth asked me that because she's a hairdresser. She said, Why is her hair so different from the Jennifer persona? Yeah, and brought up the same question.
Not really important, but it's an
But the
interesting
ladies
question.
care. See, I'm like, I wouldn't have thought about that, but now I obsess.
Something to do with the same reason. Well, why does she grow to 7 feet tall? Something happens.
It's true. And the Hulk doesn't get really hairy when he becomes the Hulk.
His hair doesn't grow. As a matter of fact, I think his hair shrinks. I think if you look at Mark Ruffalo in the car before the accident, and then in Hulk form, I think his hair is actually shorter in the Hulk form.
And maybe, they talked about in the first episode how She-Hulk is a more integrated personality. Maybe simply because of the way that she is, she doesn't allow, because when she changes, maybe something in her mind does not allow her pit hair or her legs to get hairy. So she doesn't have to do that extra work to be the way she wants to be.
Maybe. All right.
Maybe
What's
all the
next?
hair just pops out of her head, and that's why it's long.
That's right, all
She
comes
wills
out
it
there.
too.
From Stubble McShave. I like Peter Jackson's early movies, Bad Taste, Meet the Feebles, and Brain Dead. Which is your favorite, and which would you like to see a sequel of?
I love anybody who's seen Brain Dead. Brain Dead's one of the great gore films ever.
Brain
made.
Dead's kind of that's the quintessential early Peter Jackson. film,
Yeah,
I think.
I mean, Bad Taste is hilarious, but it's so lo-fi. It's like his Evil Dead.
When you look back, you gotta wonder how did they let him make the Lord of the Rings films?
I was shocked.
Yeah, when you look back on it, really,
Well, but if you think about it, so he made those movies, but then he did make The Frighteners with Michael J.
Yeah.
Fox, and he did make Heavenly Creatures. And I think,
by the way, Heavenly Creatures is tragically underrated.
it's a great film, but if you look at that, it has those great fantasy sequences in it, like the dream realm that these two girls want to live in. And I think that was like, I don't think anyone would have made Lord of the Rings anyway. It wasn't something Hollywood was looking to do, but they wanted to do it with his, I think because it was lo-fi and they knew they could make it like by hand in New Zealand, that it seemed like they could get the job done.
Well, and history was made. All right, what's next?
From James Argenta. Kate could be in Daredevil. She has fought Kingpin. She might also need a lawyer to represent her if she gets questioned about her mom's arrest.
That's a good
Well, I
like
mean,
that.
like any character in the MCU might need a lawyer. So, I mean, there's that. But the connection to Kingpin, though, that's a pretty good one, because we were talking about Echo, because they've met, but she's got more of a personal stake in Kingpin. So that's actually a really good call. Maybe it could be Daredevil, especially if Daredevil's, what did they say, 18 episodes?
Yeah.
You got room in there for some appearances. Why
But
not?
when are we going to get it? Like 3 years from now?
Yeah, no
Yeah, it's
idea.
like 2024.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
From Andy. Christopher Robin left Winnie the Pooh because he's all grown up and getting laid now. He's thinking, F Winnie the Pooh. I'm getting some real honey now.
Yeah, no, but I do like the idea that he runs things like, it wasn't my fault. They took me so clearly. The parents moved away and they were forced to leave him behind. I think there's going to be some great narrative drama.
What
in Blood and
atrocities happened in the 100-acre wood, though, that made them this violent?
Honey. Well, when you get abandoned, yeah, something in your head can break.
Maybe Saruman showed up and
Whoa.
built his own Isengard.
This is the crossover we deserve.
And
Yep.
destroyed the 100-acre wood.
Yeah, the 100-acre wood became just Orkland.
All right, what's next?
From Jackarai Robertson. My fiance can't make it through Lord of the Rings more than once. It's too long. So I decided to show her the extended cuts, which I haven't seen, 1 hour per day, like a show, and she loved them. Hype for the show.
Yeah, I
That
mean, we
works.
could do that, because then you're literally watching it for 2 weeks. If you take the extended edition, break it down to hours, that's 2 weeks if you took Sundays off. That's a lot of viewing, man. That's some big commitment. I don't think I could watch Lord of the Rings in chunks.
Yeah, I could.
I just don't think I could do it.
but for them
I mean,
to save their impending marriage.
yeah, listen, everybody has different viewing habits, and what works for some doesn't necessarily work for others. They can be different. All right, what's next?
From Jin the Jedi. YA will be set in the Kang Dynasty. Young Avengers will be set in the Kang Dynasty's aftermath, leaving the young heroes to defend Earth while the OGs get taken to Battle World.
That's not a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea. It's still, that is also a massive departure from the story of Secret Wars, though. Like, because when they're
Yeah.
off at Battle World, it's not like there's somewhere else that they can be. I mean, if you know the story, but I mean, possibly, I don't know, maybe.
I think we'll see him before that, though.
First of all, they're not coming. Secondly, if they do, I think you're right. It would be before
Look,
that.
I think we need more heroes and more teams than have been established in the MCU to make Kang Dynasty, I think, work.
All right.
That's what I think.
It's not a bad point. All right, what's next?
From Chase O. Hi, crew. Just finished For All Mankind Season 3.
Nice.
And talk about a cliffhanger ending. This is my favorite sci-fi show because it doesn't take place in the future. Can't wait for Season 4.
It's true. Takes place in the past.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks for that sharp commentary, Rob. Boy, those 3 years of broadcasting school really paid off. A little bit of major league in there for you. But I like, what would you say to somebody who just like had that experience?
Well, I mean, I think the funny thing is we assume when you watch science fiction, it takes place in the future, and or it's a steampunk past. What I think is really interesting is, and that's why I love alternative histories, is you can tell a science fiction story that's contemporary, like A Handmaid's Tale or like something like this. But it has taken place it's in the past. I mean, 30 years ago. It's getting closer to us, but.
All right, what's next?
From Dwan Williams, one of two.
Imagine if it was one of 21.
Yeah, that's why I panicked at first. One of two. I think one source of anxiety over departure from the source with Rings of Power is that the source is really, really good. Not the appendix of Return of the King, but the Silmarillion, which is Tolkien's true magnum opus.
Which they can't use.
Mm-hmm.
There
we go. I have faith in Peter's love and loyalty for Tolkien, but I do share some of the nervousness. It feels like adapting Shakespeare. People are going to get nervous.
Look,
we adapt Shakespeare all the
adapt
time.
Shakespeare.
I
all the
get
time.
it. I've been talking to people, and I've been saying, listen, if you're nervous or apprehensive or have your doubts or just all around, just don't have any interest in this show, because you're only interested in it if it stays completely true to the original stuff. Nothing wrong with that. Totally understand that. Perfectly good. But again, for somebody like me, where it's like, again, I would say to those people, if you enjoyed Civil War, if you enjoyed Days of Future Past, or if you enjoyed anything in, the DCEU, or if you enjoyed any of that kind of stuff, then you may not realize it, but you are somebody who you can separate being willing to judge something on its own merits versus what your expectations were going into it. If this thing stays 100% true, because I have seen some stuff, we've talked about it before, that stayed very, very true to whatever, and it turned out to be garbage. You know what was a great example of that? The Spirit.
Oh.
The Spirit stayed absolutely true to the original source material, and it suffered for it badly.
So bad.
On the opposite, there's been some content created that really diverges from the source material that also turned out horribly bad. So it all goes from project to project. I am not like, I don't go into a movie or a show with a checklist saying, make sure you do all these things from the original source material. No, I don't. I just go in and watch and say, give me a presentation, show me what you made, give me the story, and I'll decide if it's good or not on what it is, not what I think it should have been. But again, like I said myself, I was really disappointed when I found out X-Men Apocalypse wasn't going to be Age of Apocalypse. So, hey, I get it. I get that too. I totally do. So, yeah, we're just going to have to see. I'm going to go watch Lord of the Rings tonight, and it's either going to be good or it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good because it's different. It's not going to be bad because it's different. It's either going to be good or bad on its own merits. And we'll see which one is which. All right, what's next?
From Kara Black, what is the greatest cinematic battle of all time? The Battle of Endor or the Battle of Helm's Deep? I'd personally go with Helm's Deep over Endor.
I'm not even sure, just in the world of Lord of the Rings, that it's Helm's Deep.
Right.
Wouldn't it be Pelennor Fields?
Yeah,
I was
I
going to
mean-
say it would if you'd have to go into the Return of the King and Pelennor Fields. I mean, that's that. I mean, the Battle of Endor. I've always said this: the space battle in Return of the Jedi is the greatest space battle ever to film. But overall battle, I don't know. I mean, listen, there's a couple of potential nominees in Braveheart as well.
The beginning of Saving Private Ryan.
The storming of the beach and Saving Private Ryan is, if you don't think war sucks, watch that. You'll think war sucks after that. I mean, so there's a lot of them. So yeah, they're like, one is old style sword and sandal kind of battle. One is space aerial battle. So it's hard to compare them.
Yeah, I mean that's a tough one.
Yeah, especially since they're so non-comparable.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
From CJ Rebirth, first time I saw Pixar's Inside Out, I started crying when they showed joy in the memory dump. Learn why sadness is important.
Dude, I still remember the first time I saw that packed theater. There was a lot of tears from a lot of people in that theater. That was an emotional thing. It's like all throughout the movie, but especially near the end when Joy realizes that, I forget the name of the girl's name, but let's just call it Sarah for argument's sake, that Sarah needs to feel sad. She'd been moved away by her family.
Riley,
thank you. She'd been moved away from her family. Her friends weren't there anymore. This is a scary and a challenging time and a stressful time for a kid that age. And she needs to be able to feel that sadness in order to get through it. And when that moment happens in the movie, you're like this movie is so beautiful, the way they built up to that moment. Also, there's a great moment in it that I try to think about all the time. When they're going through the mindscape and stuff like that, and there's different cubes, and they come across a cube that is opinion. And they're like, and then there's one that's facts. Like, yeah, humans often confuse these two, the opinion cube and the fact cube. I always remember that one too, but it's such a great movie.
Justice for Bing Bong.
Bing bong. All right, what's next?
The Great Gatsby. John, I can't help but believe that Odin the Allfather is rolling over in his grave with how Thor can now just haphazardly bestow his power on anyone and everyone. Gosh, I hate that so much.
Listen, this is coming from somebody who enjoyed Thor Love and Thunder. I enjoyed it. But there are certain things about it that really do make me slap my head. And this, I was like, okay, so now that's just something he can do? Just like that? How come he hasn't done that all the time? That was a really dumb decision in a movie that I generally enjoyed. But yeah, I just don't get that part at all. All right, what's next?
From Johnny Got Lost. Can't wait for D23 next week. #big
Big
surprise.
surprise. I'm telling you, I think, honestly, I just keep thinking back to the last D23. Like it was, again, bomb after bomb after bomb. Like it was just like, you couldn't catch your breath from every huge surprising announcement they made one after the other. And I don't want to set my expectations too high, but I think there's a reason they revealed next to nothing at Comic-Con.
I agree, dude. I'm excited. I mean, I remember my heart stopped and my breath caught in my throat when I saw that Moon Knight
I knew you
logo.
would. Oh, I knew you would. All right, what's next?
Didn't work out as I'd hoped, but hey.
Not as good, but it was a great announcement.
From Lavartsev. Thanks to Netflix, we have Cox and D'Onofrio.
No. Thanks to Stardust, we have Charlie Cox. And one of many things, but listen, them as a combo, there are not many actors in a comic book role that I say, man, they were like born to play that. Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man. Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool. There's maybe one or two others, maybe. But Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin just might be one of those. Just might be on that level. Like, just incredible the way he brought that character to life. All right, what's next?
From Christopher Mendez. I would give anything to see Aaron and Chris's first reaction to that barn scene in Nope. I didn't really freak out that much in that.
Really?
Yeah.
I was gripping the side of my chair. I almost got sick. That scene was so tense.
I was just like, oh, okay, the aliens are showing up. Oh, they're not.
But it was just tension. It wasn't horror. It wasn't scary. It was more thriller in that moment. But for me, the tension was huge.
Y'all have to remember too, I had Logan next to me who just balks the entire time in scary movies. I don't like them. He loves them. He screams at them and I usually just go, no, I don't like this.
What you should look forward to is when I have Chris and Aaron sit down to watch The Descent.
That's going to be my whole thing.
That's going to be the greatest video that I've ever filmed. All right, what's next?
From Jamie Sundays, gonna see The Goat this weekend at Hollywood Bowl. Also gonna see Jaws in IMAX. Also, Rob just bought a 16mm camera, only dropped $500.
Wow, Jamie. Well, I too will be at the Hollywood Bowl on Sunday seeing The Goat.
I will be there on Saturday. Gonna go see John. I don't expect he's gonna be in a lot of it this year. He's not gonna be. I don't think John Williams will be on stage for the entire first part. And then I think he'll come out maybe like halfway through the second part. He is 90 and it's going to be like 100 degrees.
Right.
But I
agree.
think every year for the past 6 years or so, John Williams has actually been on stage at the Maestro of the Movies concert a little bit less and less and less every time, which is perfectly understandable. As long as he comes out there and does Imperial March, we'll all be happy. All right, what's next?
From Josie Reviews, is Cinderella in the public domain? Because I want to see her go after the stepmom.
I think Cinderella is in the public
Cinderella
domain.
is. Probably be.
Yeah, I think it is. I don't take that as legal advice, but
Yeah.
I think it is. Look it up, but I think it is.
That makes sense to me from its origins, though, to do a very, very bloody graphic Cinderella.
Oh, yeah.
That
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
It was a graphic story.
Can you imagine what you could do with that glass slipper?
Yeah.
You can do bad
Oh my
things
gosh.
with that. All right, what's next?
From Suthius, also in that dinner story footage, Ms. Marvel is fighting Ultron's bots along with Sam, and he calls her an Avenger in training. Very interesting.
Yeah, but I mean, there was also like the dinner cruise, the Disney dinner cruise stuff where you can't take any of that as canon or necessarily meaning anything. Doesn't discount it. It doesn't disprove anything either. I'm not saying that, but just I wouldn't read too much into it, but it's interesting nonetheless. All right, what's next?
From Thomas BDL. Hi, team. What's your all-time favorite opening credits in a show? Mine must be Daredevil. More recently, Severance, Pachinko, and Bad Sisters were pure gold.
Wow.
Love Daredevils.
I will tell you what, I hate it.
Really?
Yeah. I think like today, other than Game of Thrones, which just has its own kind of art style, I have found like whether you're looking at the opening to Daredevil, the opening to Westworld, the opening to like, there's been this trend in shows the last couple of years where it's all this abstract, camera moving to things that kind of represent something in the show and then a name title and blah, blah. It's all the same. I really don't like the opening credits in most TV today, to be honest with you. I really don't.
Twilight Zone are my favorite opening credits of all time.
Oh, that's a good one.
Follow 5 seasons, they have different music, but Twilight Zone.
Oh no! So
Yeah.
I was about to say Airwolf. But it's Peacemaker.
Oh yeah, okay. There you go.
Peacemaker, easy. That's what do you got one?
Dexter.
Dexter with the
opening was
eggs
so
cracking.
good. Yeah. Oh, that's
Dexter's
great.
really good. That
Although
music.
I want to give a shout out to something new. Evil.
Oh.
I like the
I haven't seen
it's
Evil
like
yet.
they're dropping these black things into milk. And it's very strange, and that show is very odd.
Evil,
By the
which
way,
you
a
can
few
watch on
people in the
Paramount
live
Plus
chat,
for
including
Showtime.
Jedediah, are saying Arcane. Arcane's got a great opening too.
Yeah, it does.
And that Imagine Dragons song that plays with it. Everybody wants to be my enemy. Yeah, it's perfect for it. All right, what's next?
From Brandon Nismadine. I don't get to see Rings of Power in theaters tonight, but I do get to see Return of the King in theaters for the first
Nice.
time.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
pretty great.
fun.
I still contend the greatest cinematic achievement in the history of the film. I'm not saying it's the best movie of all time, but again, when you combine the arts of costume design, set design, writing, acting, directing, musical score, all that kind of stuff combined, and there's a reason the thing won 11 Academy Awards and swept every category it was in. I think it's the single greatest achievement in cinematic history. All right, what's next?
From Dwan William. I have faith in Peter's love. Oh, we read this one.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Trevor. Game day.
Game day.
Game day.
Last night saw Ghost, Mastodon, and Spirit Box, and today going to see Rings of Power in theaters. Let's go.
I mean, I still cannot believe, because they announced that they were going to do this theatrical thing hours before the tickets went up. Hours. And so sure enough, 9 a.m. I'm there. Crash. A few minutes later, I finally get in and there's like 6 tickets left in the entire theater. I'm like, oh my God, these things sold out so freaking fast. So I'm really excited to get into a full theater of people tonight and watch this thing, and fingers crossed that it's good. All right, what's next?
From Jay. Once the Fantastic Four and X-Men finally get their MCU appearance, we will get characters like Silver Surfer, Galactus, and Doom. Is there any other character that you feel is important to have in the MCU?
Let's be very clear. None of them are important. I mean, we've seen the MCU take completely nondescript characters before and make them incredibly huge. And we've seen other films try to take iconic characters and it does nothing to improve it, AKA the Fantastic Four movies. And look what they've done with Doctor Doom. So I don't like it. None of them are important, but what potential is there? And that's the real big thing. I mean, look, to me, the character that I have always been most fascinated with that doesn't get attention, because Magneto's my all-time favorite character, but the character that does not get the attention they deserve, that I think is a fascinating character and carries a lot of potential, still to this day, is Bishop. I really do want to see what they're going to do with Bishop, and I'd like to see Bishop be given more than just a background role. But that's me. Do you have any?
Well, you just brought up, yes, the entire pantheon of X-Men.
Right.
I mean, but I'd say things like favorite. I like Alpha Flight. I keep talking about. We joke
of course,
about
they're Canadian. I want them in.
But
there.
I mean, I like those characters, and I like what John Byrne did with that run. And I would love to see, whether it's the Alpha Flight and Weapon X, all that stuff. It's very cool.
All right, what's next?
From Alex Pitt, when I first saw Ready Player One, I wasn't a fan because of how different it was from the book. But I rewatched it a few times, and now I love it.
And that's the thing. I never read the book. I just went into the movie. I was able to judge it just as a movie. I had a great time with that movie. I think that movie is wonderful. To this day, I couldn't tell you if it was totally true to the book or not. I
recently just picked it up because I was like, I should probably read this.
It's pretty different.
Yeah.
Is it? But I mean, it's irrelevant. The movie was really fun.
It was an adaptation. I mean, I love the Shining stuff, and I love seeing
The Shining stuff was so good in the movie.
the RX-78 mobile suit. Oh, so good.
All right, what's next?
From J Master, hey John, I recommend watching on Disney Plus Foodtastic, a game show hosted by Kiki Palmer. Oh, it's cute.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
listen, I am now after seeing her on Password, which is a pretty fun game, by the way. It's a pretty fun game show. I'm interested, so I'll probably go check that out. All right, what's next?
From Casino Royale, hi team, do you think Rebel Moon's premise copies Battle Beyond the Stars?
You mean Battle Beyond the Stars, the movie that copies The Magnificent Seven,
I was
which,
gonna
by
say,
the way, copies The Seven
Seven
Samurai?
Samurai?
Sure.
Yeah.
Probably.
I mean, listen, and that's all fine. But if we start watching, there's a character called Space Cowboy, then I'm gonna call foul.
We are Nestor.
I'm gonna call foul
Saint
on
X-Men of
that.
the Valkyrie.
All right, what's next?
From Dr. Stinky, hey guys, what's your favorite movie of all time?
Star Wars.
Godfather.
Muppet Treasure Island.
You say that more proudly.
Muppet Treasure Island.
Yeah, you say it.
I love that
don't
movie.
hide behind
I
the
love
mics.
it so much. From J Master, it's She-Hulk Game Day.
Game day.
Game day.
For me, it's Lord of the Rings and She-Hulk
Oh.
Game Day.
Rub it in.
Big night of
Man.
viewing for me. All right, what's next?
For me, it's Wednesday, Thursday, whatever day this is.
From My Five Head, I've been wondering how much control directors have over their trailers, such as specific shots to use, music choice, etc.
Almost zero.
That's right.
Almost zero. There's very, very few times some directors have had, I think it was Soderbergh once negotiated that he had control over the trailers, and the trailers were awful. Trailers were bad. There are boutiques and like the art of making a trailer is completely different from the art of telling a story in a movie. Completely different. And that is why there are companies and artists and professionals who it is their lifelong work of the art of making a trailer. And you should watch a documentary called Movie Trailers, A Love Story, which goes more into that. But yeah, it is extremely rare to non-exist. A lot of times when a trailer actually airs, you've seen directors talk about that. When a trailer drops, you'll hear a director say, that's the first time I saw it. I mean, it's...
Dude, yesterday I was singing the praises of the new ad campaign or the key art for Barbarian, and the company Ignition that produced that trailer thanked me on Twitter. I don't know them. I didn't even know they saw my tweets. And then I even called out the ad line. I thought the tagline, I was telling you the tagline. And another girl goes, I wrote that tagline. I was brought back to Twitter to just thank you for shouting me out. God, I love modern age.
All right, what's next?
From Victor Garrity, I love the Snyder Cut and really like Batman versus Superman. It makes me sad that fandom around Snyder DCEU can be so entitled and toxic. Is good old-fashioned movie love with no alternative agenda dead?
I mean, look, let's be careful though. Like, let's not lump everybody. This is why I always throw in these caveats whenever we're talking about. Let's not lump everybody who was excited about Snyder Cut into that same thing. It's not everybody. It's just that, like in any fandom, whether it's Star Wars fandom, Harry Potter fandom, whatever, it's usually the vocal minority that end up giving the rest of us Star Wars fans or Marvel fans or DC fans or whatever a bad name, unfortunately. I said on open mic, I think it was open mic yesterday where I said this, and here's how you fix all of it. But unfortunately, it's not what people want to do. When fandom starts to develop a tribalism, where we are now divided into camps, and we as human beings, once we divide into camps, we see other camps as the enemy and as the opposition, which is such a butt-fuck stupid way of looking at what fandom is supposed to be. Fandom Again, to quote the great John Schnepp, fandom is about celebrating what we love. Unfortunately, there are segments in fandom that reject that. That are, you either like what I like or you are the enemy, and we will treat you as such. And it is that is the seed of toxic fandom, where instead of saying, you like that, yay. I mean, we were talking about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. earlier, right? It's like, listen, I think it's awful. I think I used the phrase vomit on toast. But if you like it, that's awesome. And I'm glad that you like it. I want you to have a good time liking it. The tribalism that forms around, here's the thing. I used to say this, be a fan that's defined by what you love. Don't be a fan that's defined by what you hate. And often when I do conferences, Rob, you were there for when I did this, I can't remember which festival it was at, where I talked about developing the Growing Your Old YouTube channel. I said this, always keep an eye on yourself. Make sure that when somebody comes to your channel, that they can identify what it is you love. Don't be a channel that people go and can instantly, no, you're identified by what it is you hate. And so as fans try to be the same way, there's going to be stuff we like and stuff we dislike. And that's all cool. There's lots of stuff I don't like. Lots of stuff I don't like. The thing is, I fixate on the things I like. And if other people dislike, or if other people like the things I dislike, I applaud them and say, that's awesome. I'm not one of you, but that's great. We just got to get rid of the tribalism.
You know what else, though? I mean, I look at the Snyder Cut as kind of a great triumph for fandom because there was a really devoted group of people that did a good job. They put on charity events. They raised money for suicide prevention. It was really kind of cool that happened. It was kind of like when, Star Trek was going to get canceled after its second season and fans started this big campaign, Save Star Trek. And they did. They got a third season. And then I don't understand. There's your win. You won. You're done, right? Nope. Not good enough. Not good enough.
But again, it's just, and listen, we all do it. Sports fans can do it. We all do. We form, instead of just being a giant collective of people celebrating things we like, we develop tribalism and we say, you need to hate that, and you need to hate that, and and if you don't hate what we hate, you are now the enemy. So we're going to attack not just the thing, we're going to attack you too because you dare like it. And that's the seeds of toxic fandom, and we can all fix it, but it takes all of us. All right, what's next?
From Victor Edbaum, John, you've said that Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban is your least favorite one. Why is that?
Because it sucked.
That one's my favorite.
Dude?
It's so interesting. Yeah.
Most people I know, it's their favorite, and that's great. That's super. But I thought it's the one that I honestly felt like I could walk out of.
Okay. Stylistically or story-wise?
All of it.
Okay.
Yeah, I just thought it was a badly made movie.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of my wife's top 2 favorites, and that's great. But yeah, it's, for me, that one doesn't work. But I recognize that most Harry Potter fans, not all of them, but most Harry Potter fans will point to that one being their favorite one.
Which is
for
your
whatever
favorite?
reason, for me, it just didn't work.
Which is your favorite?
The final one, actually, Deathly
Part
Hallows
2?
Part 2.
Oh.
Mine is Half-Blood Prince.
Half-Blood Prince is really good
Mm-hmm.
too. Yeah. I like most of the Potter movies, but that's the one. I think that's the only one that I point to that I say, I think I actually dislike that movie.
That's
But
fair.
But I acknowledge most people, it's their favorites. All right, what's next?
From Black Bono Lala, some support.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
you.
From Jedediah Elias, Henry Selick returning after 13 years with Jordan Peele. A new stop-motion animated film from Netflix, Wendell and Wild. Hate it's not showing in theaters.
I know nothing about this project.
I knew he was coming back, but I don't know anything about it either.
So when it says reuniting after 13 years, what did they work on something?
No, I
previously?
think Henry Selick, because he did obviously Nightmare Before Christmas and James the Giant
Oh, so
Peach.
not 13 years since he worked with Jordan Peele.
Right,
But
13 years.
coming back.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a little more sense. I'm going through the Rolodex in my head. I'm like, there's a word for you. I'm going through the.
What's
the
a
things-
Rolodex,
Yeah,
John?
exactly. Right. I've never even used a Rolodex. I'm going through that in my head and trying to piece, but thank you for explaining that. All right,
It's about a pair of low-level demon brothers who live and work in a theme park-styled hell that exists entirely on the belly of a much larger demon. Voiced by Ving Rhames.
That sounds great to me.
You know what it sounds a little bit like? J.R.R. Tolkien had a close friend named C.S. Lewis, who also penned what you might know as The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. C.S. Lewis wrote another book that was actually really influential to me when I was younger, called The Screw Tape Letters.
Mm-hmm.
And so it sounds a little bit...
My
dear
Wormwood.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. It sounds like a little bit like The Screw Tape
I
Letters.
love that
like
book.
All right, what's next?
From Dr. Stinky, some support, and HAP support as well. So thank you guys so much for sending those in.
All right, guys, thank you so much. And that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here and making this show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in the super chats. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it. And all of us involved with the show, thank you guys so much for that support. I want to remind you guys, just a couple hours from now at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 6 p.m. East Coast Time, we will be doing our She-Hulk pregame show. We're going to talk about, our thoughts now that we've had a week to gestate on the previous episode, what we're expecting and hoping to see coming to the next episode. What are our theories? Where are we standing on things right now? Hope you guys will come back and join us for that. So, for myself, ladies and gentlemen, right over here is Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Beside him is Chris Carr. Back there is Ray Ora. And of course, running today's show, Jonathan Voico. My name's John Campea, guys. That'll do it for us for now. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.